Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, to talk about movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. And guys, of course, today I'm joined by Kimberly Ann Curran. Kimberly, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
And sitting right beside her is the man who went through a double feature yesterday of Matrix 4 and Don't Look Up, Mr. Ray Ora.
Hello, hello.
Ray, what did you liked Don't Look Up, didn't you? You loved it.
I loved it. I actually really liked it.
Because you sent me a text message like
with the first 30 minutes, awesome. I was having a blast. I mean,
and then you liked Matrix 4 too.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't love it, but
yeah, I shined up those 2 turd sandwiches. You know, I had one right here, battered and deep fried, and the other one grilled on the oven, 425, 10 minutes. 420. Flip it halfway through.
It was all good.
Ate both of them. Well, the Matrix sandwich, there was a little part where I had to put it in the fridge and then go back to it later. But overall, like in general, like both of them, I liked it. I'll trade any plot hole for just to be entertained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there could be like little tears in the connective tissue, which I might have to go see the doctor later for. But for that moment, I'll take it in order to be entertained, to laugh, whatever. And both of them, I didn't fall asleep through either one.
You didn't fall asleep through either movie?
God.
Either one. Oh, well, The Matrix, I did take that break. I really did take a break.
Yeah,
I told you what moment before
the
the show. I don't want to say what moment, but there was a moment where I had to let it settle because, I just finished eating that turd sandwich. Don't look up. And I had to let that settle in. But then I went back to it. And then after I finished, I was like, I would eat both of these tomorrow.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed both of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we are also glad that you decided to join us here today. And here's how today's show is going to go. We break the show up into 2 parts. In the first half of the show, we take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we take your live comments and questions. Now, if you're watching live, and only if you're watching live, you can send in a comment using the super chat feature in the YouTube chat there. Send that in, and we'll read it off at the end of the main topics. Now, if you're watching this show any other time, like you're not watching live, which is 22 out of the other 24 hours during the day, you can send in a question using the tip link down in the description of this video. Just click on it there or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your question read on the show if, of course, we determine your question is appropriate to be read on our show. And, of course, you'll be supporting our channel at the same time. And all of us involved at the John Campea Show, thank you guys very much for your support. What else is there here? We got a lot of stuff to talk about here today, like a whole lot of stuff to get through, including the whole Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel drama. Spider-Man becomes the biggest film in Sony theatrical history during a pandemic. The Doctor Strange 2 synopsis has been released, and it actually gives us a lot of information. There ain't gonna be another Matrix movie, according to Keanu Reeves and the producer of The Matrix. That and a bunch of things more. But we'll get all to that as we go. I also want to remind you guys, don't forget, if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube channel, good news, there is the audio-only version that we affectionately refer to as the John Campea Show podcast. Let's see if I can get it up on the page here. There it is, the John Campea Show podcast. It is the audio-only version. It's available on every podcasting app, so just go to your favorite podcasting app of choice, search for the show, and subscribe to it today, so it'll be there when you need it. Okay, guys. With that all down, one other thing I should mention. We're going to do a little giveaway today. So obviously, Kim and Ray will be engaging in a mortal battle of over-under. But what we're giving away today here is a John Campea Show t-shirt. I love that design.
That's so dope.
I like this one a lot. So we're going to be giving this one away today.
Sons of Filthy.
Ray is going to be representing one of our viewers. Kim is going to be representing one of the other viewers. And whoever prevails, their person will be getting that t-shirt shipped off to them. So we'll talk about that. We'll get to that after we do the main topics. So let's now get to our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics on the John Campea Show? Well, it's simple. You guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on The John Campea Show. With that down, Kim, what is our first main topic today?
All right, guys, this first one is coming from William Hohisel. Greetings and salutations, John and crew. Love the show.
Thank you.
Well, chalk up another victory for Spider-Man. Deadline reported that on Tuesday, No Way Home surpassed Far From Home to become Sony's highest grossing movie of all time. This is especially incredible given the ongoing pandemic and the film still having no release date in China. What are your thoughts on this latest win for the webhead? Thanks. Keep bringing on the filthy, and may the Schwartz be with you.
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, William. And yeah, listen, the last number of weeks has just been an ongoing parade of victory celebration after victory celebration after victory celebration for this little film known as Spider-Man No Way Home. And it has beaten record after record and expectation after expectation, even crossing $250 million in its opening weekend, which Kimberly Ann Curran predicted that it would. It just has been incredible, and it's only made more incredible every time you need to stop and consider this is during the pandemic era. This is during a time when not everybody is back in the theaters yet. That, you know, there are some limitations even in some, I mean, not the biggest money-making territories, but still, some territories don't even have the full movie-going experience going. And it's been doing really well. Well, it's beyond really well. It is now Sony, one of the big major studio players in the world. It has become their number one film that they've ever had. This comes to us from the folks over at Deadline who write the following. To all the cynics out there who believe that the pandemic and the streaming have annihilated theatrical moviegoing, well, Sony/Marvel Spider-Man No Way Home just beat the final $515.2 million domestic total of 2019 Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker with $516.4 million. With $1.16 billion worldwide, No Way Home is officially Sony's top grossing movie ever, unseating 2019 Spider-Man Far From Home with $1.13 billion final global total. No Way Home is also the highest domestic grossing film ever for Sony, number 14 on the all-time list at the domestic box office, and the number 5 MCU title of all time in the domestic box office. So on top of this thing crossing $1 billion and being the first billion-dollar film in the pandemic era, on top of being the number one Sony film of all time, domestically, it is the fifth. Consider all of the huge MCU films and how successful the MCU's been. The MCU's been. This is the fifth biggest domestic box office result for any MCU film, and the 14th largest domestic box office film in history in a pandemic era. The successes just keep on rolling. Now, it's going to start to run out of steam. We're now going into the third weekend and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's still going to be making money, make no mistake about it. But it will eventually start to lose some steam, as all films do. But I just think even now still, I think a lot of people don't stop and take into consideration this incredible accomplishment that is amazing in and of itself, but especially more so considering the circumstances. It is nuts. The discussion came up the other day. How good could this movie have done had it not been in the conditions that we're in? And there's always, well, the answer is we're never going to know. Like, this movie would not have come close to Endgame. But we'll never know that. We'll never know that for sure. I think 2.5 billion could have been possible. I mean, 2.5 billion, or like 2 billion, I should say, could have been possible. 2 billion could have been possible. Right now, I don't think so now, but still, there are a lot of other things to come. So, amazing. Congratulations to everybody involved with Spider-Man No Way Home, from Marvel to Sony, from Tom Holland to John Watts to Kevin Feige to Amy Pascal and everybody involved. This is just a song of fire and ice. This thing is just glorious victory after glorious victory. It'll be interesting to see where this thing ultimately ends up. Anyway, guys, the question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Of Spider-Man No Way Home just climbing all these milestones in a pandemic era when almost every other film is even struggling and considering a big victory just when they break even. Whatever you guys are thinking about this, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Kim, what is our second main topic today?
Okay, this comes from Joseph McCrae. He says, "Hey, John, Matrix producer James McTeague states that they have no plans in mind for a sequel to The Matrix Resurrections. And do you think we could ever get a sequel? What are your thoughts, and bring on the filthy?"
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, look, it's been a big topic of conversation around here this week. Look, you guys know, I'm not going to make any, false assertions about this. I have not been excited for Matrix 4. I'm the only person in my circle that was not excited for Matrix 4. And everybody always say to me this past year, how can you not be excited for Matrix 4? And I'm like, well, look, I'm interested in it, but the reality is this. The Matrix was groundbreaking, revolutionary, amazing. But after The Matrix, Matrix 2 and 3 went downhill fast. I like Matrix 2 more than most people do, but even I consider Matrix 2 to be a significant step down from the first Matrix, and then the vast majority of people out there hated Matrix 3. And what have we had since Matrix 3? The Wachowskis have gone on to make some of the worst cinematic films in history. And they've also done a couple interesting things, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's been crap after crap. I don't mean to say that. They've done some interesting things as well. But I mean, when I look at all that whole body of work and evidence, I'm like, you're going to have to tell me why I should feel excited about Matrix 4. I don't really see any reason to be excited, but let's go and see it. So I went in to watch Matrix 4, hoping it would be awesome. It was certainly great to see Keanu Reeves back in the role of Neo and see Carrie-Anne Moss back and all that kind of stuff. But for me, the movie fell flat on its face. The moment Warner Brothers was the bad guy of the movie, I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. I kind of half mentally checked out, and then every point along the way, I'm just like, wait, what? Why are they doing that? Rayor apparently liked it, and a number of other people out there liked it, and that's great. If you liked it, that's awesome. I celebrate that. And then I said a number of months ago, I said, I don't think Matrix makes 50 million opening weekend, and people thought I was crazy. And it made 12 million opening weekend.
Aye.
So the question then started to become, could they do another one? Could they do another Matrix film at this point? And I've said, I can't imagine. Like, when you look at Matrix 4 and you see how it ends, I can see why you'd think, well, they've left this open door for them to do more. But apparently, and I don't know if this was their thinking before the box office results came in or after, but apparently, no, Matrix 5 isn't on the table. Anyway, this comes to us from the folks over at Screen Crush who write the following. James McTeague, who served as a producer on The Matrix Resurrections, has confirmed that there is no fifth Matrix movie in the works. Following the movie's open ending, fans began speculating how another installment could answer some major questions still lingering about in the Matrix universe. But, according to McTeague, the film's conclusion is open to audience interpretation. Look, he says, for us, I think, at the moment, it's just the movie you've seen. We've got no prequel in mind. We've got no sequel in mind. We've got no further trilogy. That comes to us from the producer of Matrix Resurrections, James McTeague. But also, he's not the only one. Keanu Reeves is also now saying, yeah, we're not going to be doing another one. So this comes to us from the folks over at NME, where he writes, if I had to cast a ballot, no, not a ballot, a vote, I would say that Lana would not do another Matrix, he added. Producer James McTeague also confirms there are no plans for any more Matrix movies. So it kind of looks like this thing is dead in the water, which is fine. Not every movie needs to have more sequels, right? At some point, a franchise ends. Which then brings up the question, should they have ever made The Matrix 4? Especially when you start looking at the box office that it's having, the response that it's getting. And by the way, I may not like the film, but there are a bunch of people out there who do. And the majority, not a big majority, but a majority of the critics out there like this film too. So I'm actually in the minority here. And that's cool. That's fine. But with the results the film is getting, should they have ever made the fourth one? And I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Yeah, they should have made the fourth one. I mean, look, I wasn't excited about it, but when you have an IP that is as beloved as Matrix, and Keanu Reeves is, I mean, we're in the tail end of it now, but we are still in the, Keanu-sance. When you have Keanu Reeves, who might be like the most beloved Hollywood star out there right now, everybody, who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? Good Canadian kid. Who doesn't love this guy? Everybody loves him. Of course they do. So when you've got that IP with this guy who's at the height of his star power again, and there's been a lot of people who have wanted another Matrix. Even though I wasn't interested, it absolutely was the right move to do another Matrix film. It was absolutely the right move to roll the dice and try another Matrix film. It didn't work out. Okay. I still think it was the right thing to try. Maybe they should have gone with a new director. Maybe it shouldn't have been. Or, I mean, look, if it was me, if I'm the studio, I'm either like, you get both the Wachowskis back or we go in another direction. That thing concerned me when we found out it was only the one Wachowski doing it. But still, whatever. I still think it was a valiant attempt. And there are people out there who like it, like Ray Ora sitting over here. And many of you guys in the live chat probably liked it too. And that's great.
One thought, like when I was watching The Matrix, and this doesn't have to do with The Matrix, but the new Agent Smith,
right?
Whenever he came on screen, if they make a Mortal Kombat sequel, I just kept thinking, Johnny Cage. That's Johnny Cage right there. Yeah, I don't know why. It might be the dumbest thing I've ever thought, but like every time he was on screen, I was like, especially when he had the glasses on, I was like, that's Johnny Cage.
Well, by the way, speaking of the new Agent Smith, there's Anne hanging out in L.A. with Agent Smith.
Is that the Agent?
Yeah, that's Gruff. That's King George.
Maybe I was thinking of a different guy.
Yeah, there's Anne with him hanging out in the streets of L.A.
I tell you, she's awesome. She just gets like all the coolest opportunities. This woman, wow.
Yeah, and is everything. But anyway, but yeah. So, I mean, there it is. Kim, let me ask you this. I know, like, you're not huge on Matrix 4, but when you look back on it now, all things considered, now we've got Keanu Reeves saying, yeah, we're not going to do another one. When you got the producer saying we got no plans to do anymore. When you look at the box office stuff that's happening. Was it a good move to do Matrix 4, or do you think ultimately it was a mistake to do this film overall? Like, what's your thoughts on that right now?
I believe it was a good move, and the way it was done, for me, a lot of people will disagree. It was a missed opportunity. It was a missed opportunity in this day and age of comic book movies and visual effects just being incredible. It was a missed opportunity to do something, again, that was amazing. I don't believe we've reached the highest of heights in VFX or cinematography, and I feel like they could have really sat down and said, look, we are pioneers. If you can't capture it 100% again, you can still do something that's really amazing and out of the box. And I feel like it was a missed opportunity in terms of kind of not recapturing the exact energy of the first one, but at least being in the vein of that energy and being able to look at a Matrix 4 and going, it wasn't as great as the first one, but don't you love that they tried this new, this, that, or the other? I'm fine with the fact that they made a fourth one, but the way it was done for me was a missed opportunity. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with saying we're done. There's nothing wrong with a director leaving it all on the table and saying, I have nothing left to say. That's okay that you can't make a 5, 6, 7, and 8, and I really believe there's something admirable about saying, because I have nothing left to say, I'm done, instead of what I felt like this was, which was saying, I don't have much to say, but let's just do it anyway.
That's just my opinion.
This
was also a movie that didn't have much to say, unfortunately. I mean, according to me,
to me, directors and writers, I know they come from a personal place, and so I can't speak on anyone's behalf, but just as the viewer and someone who's loved the franchise, that's just how I feel.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you surprised that they're not going to try another kick at the can and make a Matrix 5? Do you think, yeah, hey, listen, Keanu may be saying that, the producer may be saying that, but I still think they're going to make another one. Like maybe you think they will make another Matrix at some point. Whatever you guys are feeling about this, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Kim, what is our third main topic today?
All right, this comes from Evenji Popov. She says, greetings and salutations, everyone. Did you see that Marvel released the synopsis for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? In it, they point out a couple of interesting things, like Wong is still the Sorcerer Supreme, that Wanda is the most powerful Avenger, and that Strange is the Avengers' central figure now. What do you think about all this stuff revealed?
All right, so now that Spider-Man No Way Home for a bunch of us is now in the rear view mirror. Now that the event has happened, Spider-Man's in the rear view mirror. There's still some people haven't had a chance to see it yet. Hope you guys get to see it soon. But now a lot of our attention is now segueing over to Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, my sights are still a little bit more short than that. I'm looking at Morbius and just hoping Morbius doesn't get delayed. But after that, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2. A thing that I still think Wanda's going to end up being the villain. I still think Wanda ends up being the villain of the film at the end of the day. I've been saying that for ever since they announced this movie. I'm going to stand on that for now. Let's see more trailers, but I'm thinking Wanda's still going to end up being the antagonist of this film. Anyway, that all being said, super excited about it, but we haven't really been given much. Like we got that teaser trailer. Great. But we haven't been given much, but now an official synopsis has come out. Apparently, it was brought out in Marvel Japan and then translated, so there might be some stuff lost in translation a little bit.
Oh, wow.
But there is a lot of stuff in this synopsis. You know, a lot of these Marvel synopsis, they come out, it's like, Captain America must once again become the hero he is meant to be and save the day. Like, it's very, very general, right? But there's actually some nuggets, some gold nuggets in this synopsis. Listen to this. So, here's the synopsis translated from the Japanese. Now that Iron Man and Captain America have left after a fierce battle in Avengers Endgame, former genius surgeon and the strongest magician of them all, Doctor Strange, is expected to play an active role as a central figure in the Avengers. There's interesting nugget number 1. However, using his magic to manipulate time and space at will with a forbidden spell that is considered the most dangerous has opened the door to a mysterious madness called the multiverse. To restore a world where everything is changing, Strange seeks help from his ally, Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme, and the Avengers' most powerful Scarlet Witch, Wanda. But a terrible threat looms over humanity and the entire universe that no longer can be done by their power alone. Even more surprising, the greatest threat in the universe looks exactly like Doctor Strange, which is, of course, a little bit of a reference there to what we assume is the what if version of Doctor Strange that we got in the animated thing. So a couple of things there. Wong being Sorcerer Supreme, which, minor spoiler for Spider-Man No Way Home, is something they reveal in Spider-Man No Way Home on a technicality, according to Stephen Strange. Well, he blipped away for a bunch of years, so they had to make him Sorcerer
Somebody
Supreme.
had to do it.
So right now, Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme and apparently still is in Doctor Strange 2. They refer to Wanda as the most powerful. I mean, they're saying it definitively. Wanda's the most powerful Avenger, which it's hard to argue against when you actually fully understand what it is she is and what it is she can do. I mean, most powerful in certain ways. I'm sure if Hulk punched her in the face, she would die. But I mean, overall, they're calling most powerful. And listen, coming out of Endgame, I often wondered, when you look at Doctor Strange's character and the type of dude that he is, you wonder, is he even going to be a part of the Avengers, or will he just pop up in Avengers movies? This synopsis seems to suggest he's going to be a central figure in the Avengers. Whereas, you know, he's kind of the type, Stephen Strange is the kind of guy that Stephen Strange is. Which was hilarious to me, because when the No Way Home trailers came out and people going, that's a different Doctor Strange, there's something wrong there. Why? And everybody was writing into me saying, why do you think Doctor Strange is acting so weird? I'm like, have you watched Doctor Strange? This is exactly how Stephen Strange acts. This is him. This is totally his personality. He's like, there's something a little, like, just too snarky and sarcastic. I'm like, have you watched the movies? Of course, yeah, it's totally him. But because he's like that, I have wondered how central of a figure he'll be in Avengers, or if he would continue to be like an outlier. But according to this, it seems like he's going to be more integral to it. That's fine with me. I love this character, and I love the way Benedict plays him, so I'm all for that. But even the synopsis to me seems like it's filled with misdirects. I do not think the Doctor Strange from What If is the big villain of this film. Because when if you watch What If, he's not really a villain. That's the thing. And at some point, he even acknowledges this was a mistake. All the stuff I did was a mistake, like in What If.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kel Mordo is there with, I think, one of the greatest actors in the world today, Chiwetel Ejiofor, which I'm so excited to see him in the trailer. But I still think all of this, all of it, is going to come down to the Avengers most powerful is actually going to be the antagonist of the movie. I've thought this from day one. I mean, look, I've got nothing to back that up with. I'm not willing to put $1 million on that. But
Dang,
I have thought
I
thought for a very long time that Wanda's going to end up being an antagonist. And I am still, from everything we've seen and heard so far, I'm still there. Anyway, Kim, you heard the synopsis for, I mean, again, this is translated from the Japanese, but you heard the synopsis. What are some of the things in it that stood out to you?
Well, I love Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme, number one. I absolutely love him because he's that lovable, sarcastic leader. But
I love him.
There's this warmth to him. I love the back and forth between him and Doctor Strange because they're like stepbrothers. It reminds me of stepbrothers, like after they were like, oh my God.
Did we just become best friends?
We just become best friends. That's how I feel about Wong and Stephen Strange. And so I'm excited to see this. But also, I love that they're shifting the dynamics a bit. Because remember, Stephen Strange, in his mind before his accident, he had that surgeon's God complex. I can fix your body so I can do anything and I am God. He had that and he was humbled. Now he has this supernatural power. Come on. I love the power dynamic there. But the most dangerous power, I believe, is untapped power. And at the end of WandaVision, that's what she realizes she has when Agatha is telling her, you don't even know what you are. You don't even know what you have. And at the very end, she's like, I know I can fly. I know I can do this. I could twist Thanos into a pretzel, but wait a minute. You're telling me there's another element to my power that is so much more than that I don't even know about. And the journey of discovering one's untapped power can be very interesting. So that's why I don't disagree with you, but I'm not on board. I'm just really, when you say that she could be the antagonist, I'm like, okay, look, she's discovering another level of power that's already super strong. So it could go either way. I'm super duper excited about Multiverse of Madness, especially after hearing this. I'm like, the action's there, my favorite characters are there, but now the story's getting more interesting.
Right, and there's another element here too, because I have spent the last 4+ years trying to tell everybody who's been writing in, this next Marvel thing is where the X-Men are coming. This next thing is where the X-Men are coming. Saying, no. Get the little the dog spray water bottle. No, stop that. Stop that. But the reality is, we're now 4+ years since Kevin Feige said, I need to finish out my 5-year plan. We're getting really, really damn close. There has been a floating theory out there that is not the dumbest theory. Because if you know in the comic books, if you want to know how powerful Wanda is, in the comic book, she just uttered one phrase that changed comic books for a long time. No more mutants. It changed the landscape of Marvel Comics. When Wanda Maximoff just said, no more mutants, it changed everything. Changed everything. There has been a theory for a long time that, what if at some point here, as we're all struggling to find a way, how are mutants going to get? We all know that the comics are the comics and the stories on screen are the stories on screen. They're two separate things.
Yeah,
but the stories on screen will often borrow thematically from the comics. What if we get a reverse? What if Wanda brings about the mutants?
Look, man.
Let there be mutants, or
Let there be.
fill the world with power, or something like that, like something in a reverse of what she does in the comics. But she does something in this, because remember, as much as she's trying to be the good guy, she's still lost in her madness. At the end of WandaVision, she was still obsessed with trying to bring about the existence of these two kids who never existed in the first place.
Yeah.
And when Doctor Strange says to her, "What do you know about the multiverse?" you see that look on her face. Because I think she believes this is her chance to bring her children that were never real in the first place, to bring them from some other facet and bring them to her.
Yep.
And I think she will do anything to make that happen.
That's a possibility,
To bring
man.
balance, as Thanos would say. He's willing to wipe out half the universe. I think she's willing to the universe be damned. I want those kids. I got a taste of being their mom. I want those kids. And we saw at the end of WandaVision, she was still steeped in that. She was obsessed.
And she accidentally created that whole situation. She didn't even realize what her love for Vision had done.
And how accidental was it? Maybe on some
subconsciously,
level, you know what I mean?
But the face-to-face Wanda wasn't like, yeah, I kind of just created it. She started remembering, but that's the love she had for Vision. That's a man and woman. I love you. That's that classic romance. The mama bear love is that lifting a truck off my baby love.
Yeah,
that I had no idea I could do this kind of love, and that mama bear love is scary. When you try to come up against that, you might find yourself maybe surrounded by mutants. I don't know.
And by the way, I just always have to go back to this. It is still a contender for me as the greatest line ever spoken in a comic book property.
Oh, yeah.
Contender. And I might be misquoting it. Correct me if I'm misquoting it. But what is grief if not love persevering? I mean, I remember watching WandaVision the first time. They're sitting down on that bed, and Vision says, "What is grief if not love persevering?" And I paused. I'm like, "Wait, just hold on." I wanted to get on the phone with Martin Scorsese and say, "Yeah, your whole thing, comic stuff isn't cinema. Listen to this line.
That was poetry, baby.
That was
poetry.
I'm still trying to figure out that line right now.
That was like a tattoo contender. I'm like trying to finish up my tattoos, and
What is grief if not love
I
persevering?
love that, dude.
I'm like, God, this is so good. So anyway, with all that, we go back and start. We're looking at Doctor Strange. So understanding them putting all these pieces of the puzzle in the synopsis together. Okay, Wong, still Sorcerer Supreme,
love
which
the shot.
somebody asked me a little while ago if I think Wong could die in this movie.
No.
And I said, nah, they seem, with what he did in Shang-Chi, they seem to be setting him up as kind of the new Nick Fury, that he's it seems
like the magic Nick Fury.
Wong is becoming the connective tissue,
Yes.
it feels like. So I said, no, they're not going to kill him.
The
in
ancient
this.
tutor.
Yeah, you
so
know
to
what?
speak.
You know what? I'm not so sure about that anymore.
Don't say that.
I'm thinking him being the Sorcerer Supreme.
No.
I'm starting. Look, I'm not saying I'm guessing that he is going to die, but I am nowhere near as doubtful as I was before. I was extremely doubtful that Wong would die in this movie. I'm not as doubtful anymore. So I don't know. That's going to be, but that setting up that Wanda's most powerful. When you're trying to set up a big threat in a movie, what's more threatening than the most powerful? Because let's face it. Let's face it. The Wanda that we now know at the end of WandaVision, what matches Baron Mordo to her?
I know, right?
Like, what matches he to her? He's not.
I'd like to see them go head to head.
Oh yeah, but I honestly, that is nowhere near as close of a fight as, say, Wanda and Strange, right? Like, Mordo did not become Sorcerer Supreme, blah blah. Strange has more natural giftings than Mordo does. He's no threat to Wanda. So he's not the big ultimate threat in this. The what if Doctor Strange, again, I don't think is actually villainous. So what are we left with? We're left with Wanda. Now, again, we may see another trailer that will give us a little bit more information, and then I'll go, well, no, then clearly Wanda's not the villain now, okay?
Yeah.
But for now, I still think, you know what? We're going to do a little poll for you guys who are watching live.
Oh my gosh. I really want to hear what everyone
I just want to know what you guys says. Do you think Wanda is the antagonist in Doctor Strange 2? I'm just going to make it real simple. Do you think Wanda is going to ultimately be the antagonist in Doctor Strange 2? I'm not going to hold your reputation to it. I could change my mind as well on this a little, but for right now, I'm kind of feeling, after reading that synopsis, I'm really feeling like it's setting it up that they are going to do that. So we're starting to get some results in on the poll. We've already got over 300 votes. And 72, I'm surprised how many of you agree with me. 72% of you right now. Oh, wait, now we got almost 500 votes. And it's dropped. We got 67% of you say yes. 33% of you are saying no. So still a majority of you, now closing on 600 votes, 68% of you are saying yes. 32% are saying no. Very interesting.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. So I got to ask Ray. Ray, is Wanda the villain of Doctor Strange 2? What do you think, yes or no?
I just don't see them putting her as because she's going to be a part villain. She's going to be like another villain, because there's obviously the main villain. Well, from the trailers, there's
Mordo, there's the evil Doctor Strange.
There's just too many villains for me to think that she's going to be a villain in this. Maybe there's something that happens where you could see that they turned it where in the future it's possible for her to turn on these. They give you a reason for it, but I don't see any villain stuff happening for
Future or Days of Future.
Oh, yeah. I just don't see it just because I feel she could do so much destruction that why make her like a part villain in this movie when you could use a whole movie to make her full on bonkers villain.
But here's the problem too. She's becoming
bonkers villain.
She's becoming so powerful. What can you do with her? What's left for you to do with her in the MCU? She's so powerful. It's almost like you need to have her turn villain. I don't know. We'll say again.
Maybe this is also an introduction to Wanda, like to the fans that didn't get a chance to see WandaVision. Maybe hey, she's coming. But just so if she comes out with
everybody knows Wanda. Maybe it's an introduction to Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, guys.
Wow.
Question is for you. A lot there to unpack in that one little. We don't often get a lot as much meat in a simple synopsis, but I think there's a lot there to unpack. Question is for you guys. What do you think about all this? Like, what was the most interesting thing to you in that synopsis? What wasn't? Do you think Wanda's going to be the antagonist? Maybe not. Whatever you guys are feeling right now, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Kim, what is our 4th main topic today?
Okay, this comes from Trevor Donegan. Hey, John, big fan of the show. I just read a story on Variety about Dwayne Johnson rejecting Vin Diesel's request to join Fast and Furious 10. Not only did he decline it, but he even went so far as to say it was an example of Vin's manipulation. Even commenting on him bringing up his kids and Paul Walker's death.
Rest in peace.
What do you think of Johnson's comments? And even though you didn't like Fast 9, do you think there's a possibility Fast 10 without Luke Hobbs can be enjoyable? Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in. And listen, we do not normally bring up TMZ bullshit on this show, but when it's something that has a direct impact on the major movies that we are watching and what may or may not come to screen and who may or may not be in those movies and affects it, then it becomes a topic that we can talk about. Look, the phrase franchise Viagra got attached to Dwayne Johnson because when he came into Fast 5, that's when the box office for the Fast and Furious movies started to explode. It's not like Fast and Furious was some big utter failure before Fast 5, but it's you look at the results for the Fast and Furious franchise and then all of a sudden Fast 5. And it's not a coincidence that that's when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came in. And his character is great. The character they wrote for him is great. The Hobbs character is wonderful and all that kind of good stuff. the fallout between Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock Johnson has been so public and so scathing that some of us, including me, I admit this, for a long time believed it was just a work. Like, this is all a sham. Like, this is just Vin and Dwayne Johnson having this. This is wrestling. This is WWE 101.
Right.
You want to generate some heat? Have the former friends becoming enemies and stuff like that, right? And I wouldn't have been surprised. I don't know, Ray, what WrestleMania are we at right now? What's coming up in...
I have no idea.
Okay, let's say...
I'm sorry. Let me check.
Let's say it's WrestleMania 28. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers. I wouldn't have been surprised if the main event at WrestleMania 28 was going to be Dwayne The Rock
38.
Johnson. 38.
Holy
Okay.
crap.
Was going to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson versus Vin Diesel. I wouldn't have been surprised. But then it started to become pretty obvious. No, this is real. This is real. Because then you even had, my best friend, Tyrese, started commenting on the situation as well. And Tyrese had his situation go down. And it started to become very, very evident that, no, this isn't fake. This isn't a work.
The whole posting and then deleting and then...
All that kind of... This is actually legit and real. Now, it started to look like there might be a little bit of peace because Dwayne Johnson just got married not too long ago. And one of the first guys to put out on social media, like a congratulation, was Vin. He put out this thing and Dwayne Johnson responded saying, thank you so much, blah, blah. And like, so then it got people like me who look at Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel as mommy and daddy. Because these are like two of my favorite guys in this business. I love both these guys. And I'm like, oh, could they be making up? Could they be making up? And maybe we'll see Dwayne Johnson. Because listen, even if Dwayne The Rock Johnson had been in Fast 9, that movie was so bad, it would have been bad even with Dwayne Johnson. I mean, Dwayne Johnson just suddenly, the character being there wouldn't have made a bad movie good, but it would have been probably more fun to watch. But I'm thinking, maybe there is a chance. Maybe. Little 6-year-old Johnny's like, maybe there's a chance that mommy and daddy, I'm not saying which one is mommy and which one's daddy. I'm saying maybe there's a chance mommy and daddy make up.
Who daddy is.
And I can have a Fast and Furious 10 Christmas with, both of them on screen together. Well, that ain't happening. That ain't happening at all. And whatever little bits of goodwill seem to have, like, maybe started to been pieced back together, that all seems to be gone again. Because here's the thing. You guys will remember a little while ago, Vin Diesel went public and put out this big public message. Instead of giving Dwayne Johnson a call, he actually got on social media and he wrote out the following. He said this. You guys remember, this was a little while back. He wrote out this. The world awaits the finale of Fast 10, Diesel wrote. As you know, talking to Dwayne Johnson, as you know, my children refer to you as Uncle Dwayne in my house. There is not a holiday that goes by that you don't send well wishes, but the time has come. Legacy awaits. I told you years ago that I was going to fulfill my promise to Pablo, that's Paul Walker. I swore that we would reach and manifest the best Fast in the finale, and that is 10. So it's basically Vin Diesel called Dwayne Johnson out. And look, I love Vin Diesel. I will always be a big Vin Diesel fan. I love this guy. But I didn't think that was the right move. And even at the time when that came out, I was like, bringing up your kids and Paul Walker? Really? I mean, I don't get it. And this seems to be something you should be talking about in private. Dwayne Johnson never really responded to it, but he was being interviewed, I think, by CNN, and he was asked directly about it, and this is what Dwayne Johnson said. He said, look, I told Vin directly that I would not be returning to the franchise. This is before Vin Diesel put out his social media message. I told Vin directly that I would not be returning to the franchise. I was firm yet cordial with my words and said that I would always be supportive of the cast and always root for the franchise to be successful, but that there was no chance in hell, there was no chance that I would return, Johnson explained. Vin's recent public post was an example of his manipulation. I didn't like that he brought up his children in the post, as well as Paul Walker's death. Leave them out of it. We had spoken months ago about this and came to a clear understanding. So if Dwayne Johnson's words are to be believed here, him and Vin Diesel talked and Rock laid it out. I wish you all the best. I want you guys to succeed, but I'm not coming back. Period. And they ended it at that. And then after that, Vin Diesel puts out this public message trying to get a swell of public support or whatever to maybe force Dwayne Johnson to come. I mean, I don't know. And listen, we are sitting here commenting on only the information that we know. There's probably 90% of the information that we don't know. But based on what we have seen, it kind of looks like Diesel said, look, it sounded like they kind of made up a little bit and said, look, I wish you all the best. I hope everything is successful for you guys, but I'm not going to be in this moving forward, but good luck. And that they understood each other. And then later Vin Diesel was like, Fast 9 doesn't have the reputation. I was kind of hoping it would. I think we need Dwayne back. Better get on social media instead of giving him a call. And I love Vin, but I think that was a mistake. And with them kind of seeming to make peace, it kind of felt like to me, if he had done this right, I think if Vin had gotten on the phone, fired off a text, a DM, just saying, hey, look, Dwayne, I'm sure both of them have some hurt feelings still, and both of them don't like the fact that they've had to fight publicly, and I'm sure both of them are in that spot. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure if one of them reached out to the other and said, you know what, listen, can you meet me at that frickin' Wendy's, on San Bernardino?
Because that's where bosses meet. Yeah,
that's the real bosses meet.
Yes.
Can we get to Thursday, 11 p.m.? Let's just sneak in there. Can we just sit down and have a conversation about something quick? And maybe reach out that way, that maybe a bridge could have been built. But it sounds like, to quote Vince Carter, it's over. It's over. A lot of you have no idea what that reference is, but it's over. It's over. Yes. Any hope there was of Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel making up and both appearing in Fast 10 is done. It's done. It's no longer a conversation. It's no longer a possibility. It's over. To the last part of your question that you wrote in there asking, do I think there's a possibility that Fast 10 without Dwayne Johnson can still be enjoyable? Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought Fast 4 was enjoyable. It didn't have Dwayne Johnson. You don't have to have Dwayne Johnson in for it to be enjoyable or for it to be good. It helps. But if he's not there, Fast 10 can still be the greatest Fast and the Furious movie. I'm not saying it will be, but it absolutely can be. You do not need to have Dwayne Johnson there. Is it advantageous if you do? Of course it would be. Would I like to have him in there? Obviously. Does it doom Fast 10 to failure without Dwayne Johnson? Absolutely not. You can still make a great movie. You can still make it super enjoyable. In the midst of the pandemic, Fast 9 came out, and it was a bad movie, but it still made 800 million, Ray? Can you look that up? How much money did Fast 9 make at the box? I think it was right around the 800 million neighborhood in the midst of the pandemic, before people started getting used to going back to the theaters again and all that kind of stuff. So you can still be successful. And if you make it good, unlike 9, if you make it good,
726 million.
726.
Worldwide.
Okay, 726 worldwide. Thanks, Ray. 726 million worldwide. I mean, look, Spider-Man came out still in the pandemic era, but it's come out when a lot of other movies have come out before it to get some people back in the habit of come. Fast 9 came out when most people had not started coming back to the movie theaters yet. So I think it can absolutely be good. It can absolutely do well. I'm not saying it will, but the chances are still there. Anyway, Kim, you look at this. Let me ask you this. Even in the midst of everything we just read, you think Dwayne Johnson, there's still a possibility he could come back? What are you thinking?
Oy. Oh, man. That text, what he put out was basically a text that should have been very personal.
And private. It
was so uncomfortable to hear that. When we think about Fast 10, the only thing we should be thinking about is that the family will be fighting Russian ghosts on Dino Gottis, right, which are dinosaur Bugatti hybrids. And that's the only thing we should be focused on. Dinosaur Bugatti hybrids.
Dinosaur Bugatti.
Yes, that's where this franchise is
I'm gonna tell
going.
you, I thought you said dinosaur bukkake hybrids, and I'm
No.
like, what are? Where are you going?
Dino Gottis,
Thank
it's
you
a
for
thing.
clarifying that.
This is family.
You know what? It's family and it's a thing because the next step in this franchise is dinosaurs and cars. Honestly, this is so uncomfortable. If I told you once in private, it's the date that you let them down really gently and kindly. And then they show up with roses at your family reunion in front of everyone and go, now you know it's not over, girl. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very over. We're done. No, we're done with this. No, you're not going to see him in that. And if you do, this is the greatest coup. This is a really good opportunity to fake it. And then, we see that shadow come around the corner and that would be a cool moment. But this is so uncomfortable. Vin Diesel really needs to kind of take a step back. And honestly, I think Dwayne Johnson, to me, he seems like a person who kind of takes this quote from Oprah that I love. Be responsible for the energy that you bring into a space. And it's very clear that when he and Vin Diesel are in the same space, it becomes toxic. It's too much ego.
In Fast 8, some people know this, but a lot of people don't even realize. In Fast 8, even though they're both in the movie, they had to make it so neither of them were ever shooting a scene together because they couldn't be on set together.
Yeah.
That's how bad it
There wasn't enough baby oil on the set. Right? They didn't rub it right. But John,
Yeah.
I just mentioned this to the chat. There is a new franchise, Viagra, and they haven't even been on screen yet. Replace everybody with Tracksuit Mafia.
Tracksuit Mafia.
yeah.
You are printing money.
Oh, you're printing money.
You
the
got my
Tracksuit-
ticket. Just replace all
my
of them. The Rock with all of them.
We all family, bro.
We're family.
We're family.
Bro, you
bro.
lost your bro? I'll be you and your bro.
Oh my God.
Franchise Viagra.
No, but I think when you're making a movie, you're and The Rock knows this, and this is why I think he's done so well. It takes hundreds of people to put a movie together. It's the energy is so important because it comes across. We were just talking about Jennifer Lawrence and how you could feel her energy in X-Men that she was over it. When the energy is bad, it starts to seep into your performance and your productivity. And I think The Rock is smart enough to know, I'm not going to put everyone through this. That's such
That's
a
a great
diva
point.
thing that's so toxic to the environment of people who got up at 3 a.m. to rig the electrical and everyone's memorizing lines. And then I got to come here and like toddlers, you got to separate us. I'm not even going to bring that. I'm above that. And I think he should be. And I think it's a good idea that he steps out. And I look forward to the dinosaur hybrids.
Let me say this. The only reason why I returned to the Fast and the Furious franchise was The Rock.
Right.
I didn't watch Fast 9 because he wasn't in there. But Kim, that's a great point. Like, if you're just phoning it in, I don't want to see you on screen. It's
Yeah.
always obvious. You know what I mean? If you don't love the product that you're making, then don't do it. So if that's the reason why he's saying no, then I'm all for it. But I probably won't be watching Fast 10 or Fast 11 if there's not someone there that will get me into the seat. And The Rock was that person.
Now, I decided I put up another poll. Put up another poll asking everybody, do you think The Rock will be in Fast 10? Simple question. Got about 500 votes in there right now.
What is it? Oh.
And right now, 85% are saying no. I mean, I think this probably, so 85% of people saying no, The Rock will not be in Fast 10. 15% of people, 15% of our viewers are saying, you know what? I still think he's going to be in there. I still think he's going to pop up. I still think Big Daddy Rock is going to be in there. But that's 15% and like a little over 600 votes now. Okay, 700 votes. 86% are saying no. 14% are saying yes. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. Now that we've seen these new comments from Vin, from The Rock, it seems like this thing is, again, in the Vince Carter over. What do you guys think about this? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, it's time for us to do a bit of a giveaway. And we, of course, have this custom designed John Campea Sons of Filthy shirt. It's even got my
Oh, no.
my Rebels hat on it.
Oh, no, not the game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Over under.
Dude, you came really close to winning.
Yeah,
You've
but
won
you
a
know,
couple of these, right?
I need a week to get over my losses.
Oh,
But
my
now it's going to be
God.
back-to-back days.
Time to get back on the horse race. So here we go. This is how it's going to go. We have 2 of our viewers are in contention for this shirt. Our viewers are being represented by Team Kim, Alex Pitt. So our viewer, Alex Pitt, is going to be represented by Kim, and being represented by Team Ray is
It doesn't matter what their name is.
the team being repped by Ray Aura is our viewer, Jordan Marsh.
Oh, Jordan's such a nice name.
So Ray is representing Jordan. Kim is representing Alex. So it's time for us to play a little game of over, under. And it's all Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock
Lord.
Johnson.
Great.
Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock Johnson theme today. So since they've got all the stuff. So here we go. 6 questions to determine who gets the shirt. Are we ready? Guys at home, play along.
Over is the toy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
is
again,
the hand.
yes, if you think the answer is over, raise your hand with the toy in your hand. If you think the answer is under, just raise your hand empty. All right. Let's get to the first question today. The first over-under is this. Over-under. The number of Fast and Furious universe movies that Dwayne Johnson has appeared in. Over or under 5.5. The number of Fast and Furious universe movies Dwayne Johnson has appeared in. Over or under 5.5. And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Ray is going over. Kim is going under. The answer is under.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson has appeared in 5 films of the Fast and Furious franchise. Fast 5, 6, 7, 8, and Hobbs and Shaw. So,
And Hobbs and Shaw 2.
well, it hasn't come out yet.
But that was a good try, though.
Good try. Good try.
Fast 10 and 11.
All right, so Kim is up 1-0 right now. Kim is in the lead 1-0, so things are looking good for Alex. Let's move on to the next one. The next question we got up for over-under is this. The number of movies Vin Diesel has been credited in that have made over $1 billion. Over or under 4.5. So once again, the number of movies Vin Diesel's credited in that have made over $1 billion at the box office. The number is 4.5. Answer in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Both are saying under. The answer is under. Vin Diesel's billion-dollar movies include Fate of the Furious, Furious 7, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. Of course, in those 2 movies, he did the voice of Groot, and he is credited as being in them. So 4 films, or 4 movies over $1 billion. So you're both correct. So Kim is still in the lead.
Yep.
All right. Let's move over now to the third question. After this, we're halfway through. And our third question and over-under is this. Number of comic book movies Vin Diesel has appeared in. Over or under 6.5. Number of comic book movies Vin Diesel has appeared in. Over or under 6.5. And the answer in 3, 2, 1. Raise it up.
I think.
Okay, Ray is saying over. Kim is saying under. The answer is under.
Oh.
Vin Diesel has been in 5 comic book movies, including Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, Infinity War, Endgame, and his most masterful classic
Bloodshot.
masterpiece,
Buster.
Bloodshot.
Yes.
So he's appeared in 5. So Kim is now up by 2.
Oh, I thought Riddick was a comic book. It's not.
I do not believe Riddick is a comic book movie.
Riddick. He was so funny.
So there's that. All right. Speaking of Riddick. Oh, no, this has nothing to do with Riddick. Sorry about that. All right. Next up, the fourth question we have now is this, with Kim up by 2. Did Vin Diesel's 2017 movie XXX, The Return of Xander Cage, make over or under the amount of Dwayne Johnson's 2017 film Baywatch, made at the worldwide box office? Did XXX, The Return of Xander Cage, make over or under the amount of money that Dwayne Johnson's Baywatch made in the same year? And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Kim is going over. Ray is going under. The answer is over. XXX made $346 million, while Dwayne Johnson's, probably his worst movie, Baywatch, made $117 million
I'm just going with the opposite.
at the box office.
It's over.
Which means it's over. Kim is now up by 3. There's only 2 questions left. We will, however, play out the last 2 questions.
Okay.
Let's see how close we can get this thing.
You can do it, Ray.
All right.
I think.
Going back,
I think
very,
John should be
very similar
in this
question here. Very similar one. Did Vin Diesel's 2015 film, The Last Witch Hunter, make over or under the amount Dwayne Johnson's 2015 film, San Andreas, make at the worldwide box office? Did The Last Witch Hunter make over or under the amount that Dwayne Johnson's San Andreas made at the box office? And your answer in 3, 2, 1, raise them up. Both are going to say under, and the answer is under.
It sure did.
The Last Witch Hunter made just 146 million, which might be, I mean, if Baywatch is Dwayne Johnson's worst, this might be Vin Diesel's worst. 146 million, while San Andreas made $474 million
Dang.
at the box office.
Holy
Very
cow.
impressive. So we
Barely.
head into the final question, just for fun.
for fun.
And that question is this. In our Vin Rock over-under game, did Vin Diesel's 2013 film Riddick make over or under the amount of Dwayne Johnson's 2018 film Skyscraper that they made at the worldwide box office? Did the film Riddick make over or under the amount that Dwayne Johnson's Skyscraper made at the worldwide box office? And your answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise it. You're both saying over, and the answer is under.
There.
Dwayne Johnson's
Really?
Skyscraper made $304 million,
Oh.
while Riddick only made $98 million.
What?
Of course, we say only. That's more money than any movie I'll ever make. Yes.
Right.
But
I'm
that-
sorry,
so-
Jordan.
Our winner for Alex Pitt is Kim. Kim wins. Alex, congratulations. You will be
Go,
getting.
Alex. Go, Alex.
You will be getting.
Not for
this
Jordan.
shirt
Not
sent
for
to you.
Jordan.
That's going to be coming to you. And we'll do more of these shirt giveaways in the
Congrats,
coming days. So, Alex, look out
Yay.
in your email. I'm going to be sending you an email and asking you which one, or asking you for an address about where to send things. So, keep your eyes open for that.
Can we just make these true
that was
false
fun.
questions from now on?
That was
True
fun.
false.
Well, I mean, over under.
Over under is kind of the same thing.
Same thing.
If I said true or false, Vin Diesel's
What if
movie
all-
made more than this movie.
Yeah, okay.
It's the same thing.
You've beaten me twice.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
wait,
it's not
you've
like
got a
you lose
couple
all the
wins here. It's
time.
not like you're getting shut out.
You just lose a lot.
I'm gonna have to announce my
You
retirement.
just lose a lot.
I'm gonna have to announce my retirement from this game of over under.
So, and you know what's funny? When I put out the call, I say, guys, we're going to be doing a giveaway of a shirt today. Write in if you want to be entered.
Nobody.
And I always ask, and let me know if you want to be repped by Ray or Kim. The majority still want to be repped by Ray.
They believe in
They,
you, bro.
they believe in Ray. They
Hashtag
or
Ray.
they just think
Because
Ray is
they
due.
yeah, they feel sorry.
They think
for
Ray
me.
is due at this point.
But I just announced to the chat my worst thing ever is box office numbers.
Okay.
I hate it.
You got this.
I hate numbers.
Well, you got a couple of them,
But
right?
I love math. I hate numbers. So
I
love math, I hate numbers. All right, guys, with
hail?
all that down and out of the way, let's now move over and start taking your live comments and questions. We're going to start up here, starting off with the live comments that you guys who are watching this show live. So if you're watching live and sending your comments live, we will start with you guys, and then we'll get over to the questions that got sent in via the tip link in after hours. So, Kim, let's get things rolling over here. I think we're starting off with the man with the master plan, I believe.
Yes.
All right, what's our first one?
All right. He says, John, are we bros from another life, man? You know about Stephen Chow movies, Tony Leung's Internal Affairs, and WWF, not to mention all the comic book stuff. Anyway, Happy New Year to you and your family, your team, and all your fans.
Yeah, as soon as I start talking about Stephen Chow movies or Infernal Affairs, like a lot of people look at me like I'm speaking another language. But yes, every once in a while, there are guys out there who can relate with me on my love for this stuff. So thanks for that, man. Hey, man, thanks for being a viewer of the show, and thanks for supporting our channel on that level, man. That was very generous of you. All right, what's next?
Leo Liang says Licorice Pizza was called out for racist scenes towards Japanese women, and Paul Thomas Anderson's response was essentially, I can't be racist. One of my in-laws is Asian.
Okay, I don't know what we're talking about, but I will say this. And I'm not throwing you under the bus, Leo. I'm just saying, normally when I hear people say, well, this person's response was essentially, oh, okay, so you're not telling me their quote exactly.
Yeah.
You're telling me your interpretation of their quote. Now, again, I don't know. I haven't read this. Paul Thomas Anderson seems to be very shrewd and measured in how he speaks publicly. So I have a very difficult, again, I haven't seen it though, so I might be wrong. I'm saying I have a very difficult time to imagine that Paul Thomas Anderson said, I can't be racist. One of my in-laws is Asian. And so whenever somebody says, like, don't tell me essentially what they said, tell me exactly what they said. Now, look, I haven't watched Licorice Pizza yet. I'm watching it today, finally. So I don't know about any scene. I haven't heard anybody talk about any scene, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, so I don't know, but I'd have to see it myself. So I can give no commentary considering I haven't seen the scene, nor have I read Paul Thomas Anderson's actual direct quote referring to the scene. Since I haven't done that, I can't give any kind of response to it because I got to see it for myself. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn says, is it fair to call Encanto and Eternals flops?
I don't think so. I mean, like if you look, first of all, let's bring up, Ray, bring up the worldwide total for Eternals because I believe that made over $300 million. Like, remember, do I think it made money at the box office? I don't think it made money at the box office, but just like losing money at the box office does not equal flop.
401 million.
Oh, it made over 400 million.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right
I wouldn't call Eternals a flop. You're making over 400 million at the box office. I wouldn't call that a flop. The movie, I think I heard, cost like 130 million to make or something like that.
Wow.
It might actually be profitable for all I know, but at any rate, no.
Encanto's 194 million.
194. So it depends on how much. I have no idea what they spent on Encanto. But again, you have to measure these things. In as much as we're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, you got to keep in mind the context for how outrageously good this is. You also got to keep in mind the context when talking about all the other films as well. Like, one of the things we talk about with Matrix was like, yeah, it made 12 million in its opening weekend, 22 if you count the extra days. But you do keep in mind that it is during a pandemic thing, that it did open against Spider-Man as well. So you got to adjust your expectations a little bit. So I don't know that I call either a flop. Encanto would be closer, but once you make over 400 million, whether or not that means you're now in the profit or still in the loss, I don't think you can call that a flop if it made over 400 million. Just like I would argue with people about the theatrical release of Justice League. The reality was, people said it flopped. It's like, no, actually, it made over $600 million. It did not flop. I mean, you may not have liked it, but it didn't flop. So I don't know. So that's how I would answer that. All right, what's next?
T Money Jesus XO says, hey everyone, it's my birthday and I'm high as hell.
Congratulations on both. We send our
Good for you.
heartfelt
Good for you.
Congratulations on both, T-Money. Have a great birthday, man. We hope you have a fabulous day, dude. All right, what's next?
Dave G says, John, been watching since Jedi Council.
Oh,
Merry
thank you,
Christmas
man.
and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yeah, tomorrow's New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Game day.
We were out.
I forgot.
Ann and I were out last night. Our friend Kaori, you guys know Kaori. We were out at celebrating Kaori's birthday last night, and somebody brought up, I think it was Soul brought up, so what's going on for New Year's? And I'm like, I have been like so swamped. I haven't even thought. I told him like when's New Year's Eve? Like next week sometime? Oh no, it's tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
New Year's Eve is tomorrow. I haven't even thought about it. Like, normally I'm all about big New Year's Eve plans, like going to Vegas or doing something. I haven't even thought about New Year's Eve.
I'm completely opposite. I don't
never think about it?
I never do anything on New Year's.
Yeah,
it's just another thing for me.
Yeah, I stay in.
Yeah, so
I'm
I think this year I'm probably doing what my parents do, which is stay in and order Chinese food. I mean, that's probably what I'm going to do this
We
New
usually
Year's
eat
Eve.
lamb and artichoke, and the lamb that I get from Trader Joe's, they're completely out. So now I'll be eating peanut butter and jelly and counting in the new year.
All right, what's next?
Madison Blake sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Madison.
Hey, John and crew, there are rumors that TASM3,
The Amazing Spider-Man
thank
3.
you, could be greenlit with Andrew coming back. Do you think this will happen? And do you think we will see all Spideys return on screen in future projects?
There's a difference between what do I think and what do I know. A lot of people don't know that there's a difference between those things, but there is. And I'm cognizant of the fact that there's a difference between what I think and what I know. I don't think we're going to see Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man again. I would love it, though, because I've been singing Andrew Garfield's praises as Spider-Man ever since The Amazing Spider-Man 1. I have loved this guy, and I love The Amazing Spider-Man movie. I mean, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not so good. I granted that. But the first Amazing Spider-Man was so good, and Andrew is such a great Spider-Man, and all that kind of stuff. So I would love it. But at this place, no, I don't think so. But let's wait and see what happens when more information comes out. All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, Madison. Appreciate that very much. All right. What's next?
Purple Haze 4564 says, John Kim Ray, my Halo buddy. I need a new Superman movie with Mr. Cavill. Warner Brothers, pull the damn trigger. Every other movie has a sequel, but Superman.
Yeah. Okay. Look, you know, Purple Haze, you're not going to find a stronger ally in this than me. I mean, look what the only thing I've got in my shot, that's a movie related thing, is right there. Henry as Superman. But everybody pretends like business isn't a real thing. Here's the reality. Man of Steel didn't do all that well at the box office for a Superman movie. It did okay. It did more than respectable, but it wasn't a big hit. Not in an era when other comic book movies were hitting the $1 billion mark. And Superman, I can't remember exactly how much Superman made. Ray, can you look that up? Yeah. Man of Steel? Can't remember exactly. But it's a good number. It's a good number. But the reality is, whenever I bring up Man of Steel, half the comments I get from people are, Man of Steel sucked.
668 million.
668. There you go. But whenever I bring up Man of Steel, half the comments and feedback I get from people is, Man of Steel sucks. And that's cool. All film's subjective. You hated it, you hate it. That's fine. But en masse, the audience didn't love Henry Cavill as Superman nearly the way I know we should love him as Superman. But not a majority of the people agree with me. They didn't. A good chunk of people did not love Superman in Batman versus Superman. A lot of people didn't love Superman in Justice League, either version. So in as much as you and I, Purple Haze, would, tear sackcloth and sprinkle ashes on our heads and cry to the heavens, give us another Henry Cavill Superman movie. And while I still believe there is hope for one, I still think there's hope for one. The reality is, in all the dumb things that Warner Brothers does sometimes, it's not dumb for them to second guess whether they should do another Henry Cavill Superman movie, because the numbers are the numbers. The numbers are impartial. Numbers have no feelings. Numbers have no sentimentality. And the numbers say, we don't have a lot of success when we have Henry Cavill as Superman. At least relative to the amount of success we think Superman can have. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you in that I want it. I don't know if we're going to get it.
The thing is with the DC movies, I found that they just don't have replay value for me. Like, I liked all the movies, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Justice League. Just the replay value wasn't there for me, or the wanting to see it again. Like, I was fine with just the one showing. And a lot of the box office, I think, comes from second viewings, third viewings, right?
Big box office. Yeah, big box office comes from second and third viewings.
I'm not sure if you could put that on Cavill, really. Could you?
I mean, look, I've gone back and watched these multiple times. I love them. But anyway, all right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, Purple. What's next?
Mickey says, I love the Homecoming trilogy as a whole, but what I'm about to say may or may not be on the nose, but this trilogy would not have been a success if it wasn't for Marvel Studios being involved.
You can think that, but that's bullshit. I mean, it's because Spider-Man movies have been big financially successful before, right? And now as we get deeper and deeper into the golden comic book movie age, where it's not tremendously uncommon for comic book movies to hit the $1 billion mark. And look, Sony has still made the better Spider-Man movies. I love the Homecoming trilogy. You guys know I love Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, all that kind of stuff. They've done a great job in cooperation with Sony. But Sony has still made the better ones solo. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. And I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse may be the best Spider-Man movie ever made. I know as movie audiences, we're all about what's happening right now, because whatever's happening right now is the greatest thing ever. I'm guilty of that. We all do that. But yeah, I mean, that only carries weight if you go back to the older Spider-Man movies and saw no success. They had tremendous success. So, yeah, I disagree with you about that. I do. I completely disagree. The real answer is we'll never know. But I don't think there's enough evidence there to suggest that that's the case. Anyway, that's my take on it, Mickey. I appreciate you sending your point of view on that as well, because I'm sure a lot of people agree with you on that. All right, what's next?
Bat Nipples says Sony is killing it in the movies and gaming side.
I mean, this year has been a great year for Sony.
Yeah.
It has been a wonderful year for Sony. And on the gaming side as well. So they're having a pretty good, I mean, I wish, like, it was Sony that just recently set up an entire movie studio division just for their PlayStation and Sony exclusive side. It's going to be neat to see what happens as that starts to manifest, starting with Uncharted. All right, what's next?
Victor Garrity says, I liked Matrix 4, but I totally get why people didn't. HBO helped, as the flaws would have bothered me more had I gone out and paid $12.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you see a movie that you don't like, you're like, man, I really would have been upset if I planned an evening out, got babysitters, went out. Yeah, then it's even worse. I mean, listen, I'm like the opposite of you. I did not like this movie at all. But I get why there would be people who do. And there are people who do. There are a good number of people who enjoyed Matrix 4, and that's awesome. That's the beautiful thing about film, man. Like Ray Ora.
Yeah, that reminds me of like going to get, when we go out and go eat at a more expensive place, but not feeling full afterwards.
Yes.
You know, that's like the same exact feeling. If you pay that much, you want to be satisfied, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, what's next?
Merle J. Hova sends in a 1999 super chat.
Thank you, Merle.
Thank you. Firstly, season's greetings and Happy New Year to the Campea crew. Now, damn you, John. I finally caved. Because of you, I started watching Yellowstone, binged everything in 3 days, and now subscribe to Peacock and Paramount Plus.
Listen, I tell you, I am like you on that. I did not watch Yellowstone for the first couple of seasons. It's like, okay, old cowboys sitting around on a ranch. Who cares? And then one day I had a few people say you should really watch it. So I watched the first episode, binged everything, got caught up in a matter of in a very, very short period of time. I am now absolutely hooked on this show. Honestly, it's the only reason I still have YouTube TV. Because on YouTube TV, I can just search for the show and it'll bring up like all previous episodes. It's the only, like, I probably would have unsubscribed from YouTube TV if it wasn't like my one kind of way of watching Yellowstone right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of it. All right,
Nice.
what's next?
Sam Sprill says, greetings, guys, from South Africa.
Greetings, Sam.
Finally got to see No Way Home today, and I loved the movie. Almost went for a second viewing. That's how good it was for me.
It says something when you walk out of a movie and like, I'm seriously considering just going to the ticket outlet and getting another ticket right now and turning around, even though you probably had
Right.
plans for other things. All right, what's next?
Victor Garrity says, we really underestimated Paul Walker's contribution to Fast and Furious. He was the heart and soul of those flicks. Fast 8 and 9, both were hollow versions, only themselves.
I don't know that I agree. Number one, I don't think people underestimated the importance of Paul Walker. I think everybody understood the importance of Paul Walker to that franchise. I certainly did. I think most people did. Secondly, I think Vin Diesel, he is kind of the heart and soul of the franchise. Vin is, right? Like, Paul was absolutely right up there with him, but it's Vin's franchise. Third, without Paul, first of all, I liked 8. I thought it was ridiculous, but I liked 8. I did not like Fast and Furious 1, 2, or 3. I've liked or loved 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I did not like 9 at all. But like, even without Paul, you can do it well. There's so many characters. You can have a lot of, look, it's like Bill Belichick coaching the New England Patriots to how many Super Bowls and division championships. They got injuries. They got people go down. They lose people. The attitude, the mentality, the philosophy is next man up. It's like, all right, we just lost this big wide receiver. Okay, who's on the bench? Who's ready to step in and do their job? You got a lot of characters in Fast and Furious. You got to have then somebody step up. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was kind of became the third spoke in that Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Vin Johnson wheel. So I don't think anybody underestimated how important Paul Walker is, but I still think you can do these things great without him. And I think 8 kind of proved you can still make an enjoyable movie. Hey, look, to me, they had 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They had a streak of 5 wins in a row, as far as I was concerned. They were due to have a stumble. At some point, you're going to stumble. And 9 was that stumble. I have every confidence that they're going to be able to come back with 10 strong, with or without Paul Walker or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think they're due for a good one now. All right, what's next?
Michael Pacheco says, I got more hyped for the Scream sequel when I learned the Ready or Not directors worked on it. Love that movie.
I loved Ready or Not. Ready or Not was one of those little pleasant surprise movies that you'll say, whatever. And it's got, what's her name?
Betty.
It's Weaving. Margot, what's her first name? Something Weaving is the name of the girl in Ready or Not. And she looks, everybody thought it was Harley Quinn. Why am I freezing on Harley Quinn's name?
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. Everybody thought, watching the trailers for Ready or Not, everybody thought it was Margot Robbie. I me included. The first time I watched the first trailer for Ready or Not, I thought it was Margot Robbie. But it was Samara. Thank you guys in the live chat are putting as Samara. Samara Weaving. Samara Weaving, who was fabulous in that movie. That movie is great. I still have no hope, no interest, nor any belief in this new Scream movie. I think it's going to struggle at the box office. I don't think it's going to be very good. I hope to go into it and love it, but I don't have a lot of belief or faith in this at all. All right, what's next?
Rachel Knight Online says, "Hey, John and crew, if you had the chance to recast one member of the prequels, who would you recast and with who? For me, Paul Walker as Anakin."
None. The problem with the movie was nothing, like, as much as I don't like the prequels, none of the problems had anything to do with the casting. That had nothing to do with it. And Anakin, remember, Paul Walker, I love Paul Walker, but you put Paul Walker in there, he's still saying the exact same lines. He's still saying, "I hate sand." I mean, it's just Paul Walker saying it now. And I don't think the problem at all was the performance that we got out of the role or any of the roles. I just don't think that was the problem. So who would I recast? Nothing, because recasting isn't going to change anything. They had the great Ewan McGregor. They had the great Liam Neeson. They had the great, why am I freezing on the name of the guy who plays the Emperor? Ian McDiarmid. They had the great Ian McDiarmid. Well, that was later on. But you had, like, the casting in these movies wasn't the problem. The problem was it was a terribly written script. Great idea for a story. Like, this is the funny thing about the prequels to me. I think if you sit down and look at a 3-page synopsis of the prequels, the story outline is great. I think the prequels have a great story outline. It was just fleshed out terribly. And so I really wouldn't change any. Personally, I wouldn't change any of the castings. All right, what's next?
Rachel Knight Online says, "I love you, Ray, but it's The Miz as Johnny Cage."
But the Miz can't act. That's the problem.
Correct.
I mean, the Miz.
But his persona fits perfectly.
His persona is awesome. The Miz's persona is awesome. He is great in WWE.
Yeah.
But I don't think the guy can actually act. And that's going to become an issue. That's going to become a bit of an issue. All right, what's next?
Purple Haze 4564 says, "By the way, John or Ray have played The Matrix Awakens either on your PS5 or Xbox Series X. Ray talked to John about joining Game Pass. He would have got it, Takes Two, and other games for free."
I actually have Game Pass. I've had Game Pass for about 6 months now, and the only game I've downloaded was, what was the name of it? One was this. I know this isn't the exact title. You guys help me what the name of it actually is. Like, ridiculously realistic battle simulation. Or
something like that.
Yeah, it's something. If you guys know the actual name for that game, put that in there. Yeah. And the other one was
wasn't it Hades?
No, Hades we've got on a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay.
Love Hades. Hades is a great game. But then there's the one where you're just the little characters and you're just trying to get to the end. You're racing through. You're playing against 100 other players.
Yeah.
What's that?
No. It's that.
You're just these little characters going through this. Totally Accurate Battle Simulation is the one game that Terry Taylor put in there. But it's just the
I know which one you're talking about.
It's just you're going Fall Guys, Verdant G. So the only things I've downloaded on Game Pass was the Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, which was actually pretty fun, and Fall Guys. So but I got my PS5. No, I didn't get the Matrix one. Did you get the Matrix?
I played it.
You did? How was it?
Yeah. It's great. I actually like it's short and it's not really a real game, I don't think, but what you can do and the power it shows of that engine is great.
All right. I might have to give it a shot. Right now, Ann and I are in the middle of playing It Takes Two.
Yeah.
We play about a half hour to 45 minutes every night. We'll sit down and play and get through it. Oh my God, that game is so good. We had never even heard of that game until we watched the Video Game Awards and it won Game of the Year. And we're like, I've never even heard of It Takes Two. So Ann and I instantly downloaded it, and we started. It was like a 60 something gig download. I can't remember how big it was. So we had to download it overnight. We started playing it the next day, and we've been playing it every night. Like it's awesome.
How fun.
You guys should give it a shot. It's
a great
really,
story
really great.
too.
Great story to it. All right, what's next?
Hero75 says, I don't see a Matrix 5 happening, but a Matrix show on HBO Max about the history of that world could work.
I have zero interest in that. The prequel. Now let's look at the everything behind this. I don't think so. Look, there was the Animatrix. Mm-hmm. I like the Animatrix. A lot of people loved it. I thought it was a little overhyped, to be honest with you, but it was interesting. It was good. But if you got any sort of a hunger for that stuff, you can go back and watch the Animatrix. I just don't think look, Matrix 5 taught us this. There's nothing else to say in the world of the Matrix. We get it. People are batteries, or the humans and machines. There's the one or the two, depending on how you look at it now. There's nothing left to say in the world of the Matrix. I really don't think a show would do well, personally. All right, what's next?
Brandon Blake says, reflecting back, I think WandaVision is one of the best things in the MCU, with perhaps the best single line of dialogue. I understood it while it was on.
Listen, I can't emphasize enough how great I think WandaVision is. It was original. It was visionary. It was emotional. You got so attached and drawn into these characters. It had great mystery running throughout it. Like, we do our post-game shows of the Disney Plus shows. None of them have captured the imagination and discussion like WandaVision has. Yeah, there'd be discussion after Falcon the Winter Soldier episodes, and there was discussion after the Loki episodes, and there's discussion after Hawkeye, but nothing like WandaVision. Like, every single episode sprouted out 1,000 new theories and questions and blah. It was nothing else like it, all done with a supremely excellent narrative. I don't know where I would rank, because I don't do much rankings. I don't know where I would rank WandaVision in terms of overall MCU projects, but it would be up there. It's easily the best TV project they have, like that, hands down. But in their overall MCU, it would be high. I'll just say that it would be high. All right, what's next?
Manny Garcia says, maybe not a Matrix movie, but a Matrix series on HBO Max. Too big of an IP to give up, in my opinion.
Too big based on what? You make the you make the claim it's too big of an IP. Show me evidence that it's a big IP. Because a Matrix movie just came out with Keanu Reeves starring in it, made $12 million opening weekend. So I get the argument for there being giant IPs and saying this IP is just too big not to keep going. After Matrix 1, this franchise has been driven into the ground. Everything they've done has been a decrease in quality since, with the exception of Animatrix. Matrix 2 was a big step down. I liked it more than most people. Matrix 3 was almost universally despised. And now you got Matrix 4, which I get. There are people out there who like it, and I celebrate that. From my personal point of view, just ran into the ground, and nobody was interested, relatively speaking. So I don't know, Manny, at this point in history, that we can say Matrix is too big of a franchise to let it go. I don't think we can say that anymore. I think we could have said that 15 years ago. I don't think we can say it today. So I'm going to stay on the no side of that, but that's just me. But you may be right, Manny. We'll have to wait and see. All right. So thanks for sending that in, dude. What's next?
Rylan Holman says, I'm worried that they made Wong Sorcerer Supreme. I fear they may kill him off so Strange can take the title.
I was saying the exact same thing a little bit earlier. Like, first of all, logistically, it makes sense. Now, this is a tiny minor spoiler from Spider-Man No Way Home, but at one point in Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange reveals that, yeah, Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme now because there needed to be a Sorcerer Supreme, and I had blipped away for 5 years. So he's Sorcerer Supreme. I don't think that's why they'll kill Wong, but I think it adds to the weight and the consequences, because if they kill off Wong, they're also killing off the MCU's current Sorcerer Supreme. So it's one of the reasons why I think they might kill him off. I hope I'm wrong, though. All right, what's next?
A. Marcellus says, I think Shuma Gorath is going to be the villain. He's the tentacle monster in the trailer. John has read the comics and knows he's a big threat.
The trailer to me seems like it's going to be a momentary threat. Like we've seen a lot of, let's take, for example, Civil War. You had Crossbones was back, right? Civil War starts off with Crossbones attacking the city, Wanda makes the explosion, but that was just a momentary threat in the movie. Then Crossbones was removed from the equation. I have a feeling that's going to be the case here. I don't think that's the main thing. I think that's just going to be a momentary threat, much like Crossbones was. I don't know that. I'm not willing to put any money on that. That's just my guess right now. But see, that's not a tangible, like you look at things like Thanos. That becomes a real character in the movie. That becomes your main antagonist. Thanos isn't just a threat. He is a character in the movie. And I don't know that you can do that with Gorath, but I don't know. We'll see where they go. All right, what's next?
Pablo Zuniga says, I don't know in what order they wrote each project, but have we considered, instead of a what if character in Doctor Strange 2, could they have based the what if Doctor Strange off the Strange 2 script?
You know what? This is not a bad question because with the way I lost track, I'll be honest with you.
Pushed back.
I
Yeah.
don't even think about anymore what original release dates were and all that kind of stuff. And I can't remember which movies were pushed and which movies weren't. And I don't even think about it. But the theory that maybe our first introduction to this darker Doctor Strange was supposed to be in WandaVision, and then we get the backstory of him in What If seems plausible. I have a feeling What If was supposed to come out first. I have a feeling that introduction to Doctor Strange, the introduction to that universe's Doctor Strange, was what our first exposure to this Doctor Strange is supposed to be. But I don't know. It's a really good theory, Pablo. I'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
Drew W. says, I want Wong to become the new Stan Lee and be the cameo guy in the movies from now on.
Well, like I said, up until this point, I've been, especially after Shang-Chi, I kind of felt like they were making him the new Nick Fury, that he kind of became that connective tissue. Like, not so much Stan Lee, because Wong is not on the level of Stan Lee. Nobody is. But he could have been that new Nick Fury that kind of pops up in everything. But now maybe he'd die. I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
I rock, therefore I am.
I like that.
Says, Scream 1996 just passed its 25th anniversary. I'm very excited for Scream 2022. The stakes feel higher and seems less cheeseball than the sequels.
Really?
I'm right there with you, bro. I'm excited
You're excited for it, huh?
I'm not super pumped like I was for Spider-Man. Like I could have just gone crazy for Spider-Man. But I'm excited to see it. I liked the Scream franchise and I thought it was fun.
Zero interest.
And Sydney's back. Do you have a gun? Of course I do.
I'm Sydney. Less cheeseball, huh? Stakes are higher? Correct me if I'm wrong. Some douchebag teenagers are going to get stabbed. How somebody educate me. Educate me. I want to share your enthusiasm, Kim. I do. But what stakes? Some douchebag throwaway high school characters are going to get stabbied. I mean, who cares? I don't
It's
know.
a legacy of copycats, okay? Let me have this.
That's the other thing that makes the Scream franchise so utterly stupid is the fact that, here's the thing.
Get a new mask, bro.
Yeah.
The mask's gonna have wrinkles on it. It's gonna look like wet toilet paper that dries up.
I don't want to be overly pessimistic, but like, here's the thing. You look at a Nightmare on Elm Street movies, like good or bad. Freddy is Freddy. You know Freddy. You understand. You know what's pushing Freddy. You know how dangerous Freddy is. You want to watch a Halloween movie with Michael Myers. That's Michael Myers. Blah, blah, blah.
Look.
There is no ghost face.
Linda.
It's a different guy. It's a different teenage
it's a different
douchebag every
motivation
single.
each time.
It's a different douchebag loser in a mask every time. Who's
This
got
one-
nothing but stabby,
This one's like,
stabby.
why are you upset today, though?
You know what took over Scream? That movie, Happy Death Day, I think took
I
over.
love Happy Death Day.
Yeah, because
That's a way better Scream movie than Scream ever
yeah,
was.
I think we moved on to Happy Death Day. But you know
Y'all
what?
just don't know. Y'all just don't know.
Give Scream its goodbye movie. It's thank you to the fans.
Yeah, and you know what?
know.
Look, I totally hope, honestly, no facetiousness here. I hope Scream comes out, makes 150 million opening weekend. I hope it's got like a 92% critic rating and a 95% audience rating. I hope this movie is awesomely successful. And I hope I love it. I'm just saying I don't have any belief I will going into it. That's all I'm saying. Like, I hope either Tom Brady or the New England Patriots win the Super Bowl this year. I don't believe either of those are going to happen. I don't think either of those are going to happen at all, but I hope it does. So I hope we get to see this movie do great, and I hope I go in and watch it and think it's one of the most fun movies I've ever seen.
Your mind will be blown.
I hope so. I hope so, because right now I got no interest in this movie.
Is David Arquette in it? He is,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, former
They're all
World
back.
Championship Wrestling Champion.
That's right, former heavyweight champion, WCW
the
heavyweight
worst
champion.
days of WCW's life.
And you know what? The first celeb that I met in Hollywood was David Arquette.
Oh, did you?
Oh.
What was he?
I've got a picture of me with him here somewhere. I'll look it up another
So he's
time.
a cool guy then.
But he did this. David Arquette directed this like stoner movie. This what's the number? 412 or is that
For
420.
420.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I don't do any drugs, so I don't know this stuff. But 420.
It's not an R&B group.
But he did this movie, this slash where guy in a Ronald Reagan mask went around killing a lot of people. And he directed this little movie. And I was visiting LA. I was still doing the movie blog at the time. And I was visiting LA, and his publicist reached out to me and said, David would like to invite you. We're doing a premiere screening at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Want to know if you want to come down and be a part of it. And I'm like, I'd love to. And I got to go down. Now, you got to understand, at that time, like, my number one all-time celeb crush is Jennifer Garner. But before Jennifer Garner, my number one all-time celeb crush was Courtney Cox.
Oh my gosh.
I thought you were about to say David.
Was David Arquette.
In love.
David
Dream
Arquette.
come true. And he asked me to go to the cemetery, a stranger, and I just went. You could have been murdered that night, John.
I could have been. So, but I thought, man, I get to meet David Arquette, and hopefully, like his wife will be there. The guys, they were married at the time. Him and Courtney Cox were married, and I got to go, and he came over and introduced us. So I got to meet him, got to meet Courtney.
Awesome.
The first time I got to meet Thomas Jane, because Thomas Jane was in the movie too. That was the first time I got to meet Thomas Jane. It was a really, really cool experience. I like David Arquette very much. Still don't care about Scream. All right, what's next?
Timothy Hartel says, with Wanda's power, if you keep her a protagonist, it takes away from Doctor Strange in his own movie. I think she ends the movie good, though.
That's an interesting point. Because if you do a Hulk film and Hulk teams up with somebody even, I don't know, stronger than the Hulk, but if you team up Hulk with somebody who's even more stronger than the Hulk, and they're just, that it does kind of take away from that. Like in Captain America's movies, they have him team up with a lot of people, but he's Captain America.
Yeah, he's Captain
In all of them.
America.
So, I mean, that's a very, very good point. I don't know. That's something to keep in mind. Good point, Timothy. All right, what's next?
T. Zilla says 2021 was a great year for movies,
It
and
was.
I can't wait for 2022. I'm seeing Morbius, Scream, and Belle next month. Cannot wait. I also love the show. Helps me get through long work days.
Thank you so much for that, T. Zilla. And you know what? That's the thing. In as much as there have been a lot of crap in 2021 that we've all had to deal with, and some crap in the movies, Fast 9, where they fall. And as much as we had all that,
I just got that.
the reality is there has been some tremendous cinema this year. Some tremendous stuff this year. And I think a lot of us, because of a lot of the other crap that's gone on, a lot of us are overlooking just how really good of a year this has been for a lot of movies. So I'm glad you pointed that out, T-Zill. Thanks for being here, and thanks for having us along with you at work every day, man. We appreciate that. All right, what's next?
Black Loki 3004 says, the Darkhold corrupts those who read it. So I agree that Wanda will be an antagonist, but I think Strange will help her break free in Doctor Strange too.
How it ends is up for discussion. Like, it very well could be like we just saw in Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man's trying to save these four villains, right? So it could be that she is the antagonist of the film. And, you know, I said this probably about a year ago, that Doctor Strange maybe has to destroy her, or he saves her from herself, or something like that. But I totally see what you're saying about that, Black Loki. I agree with you. All right, what's next?
A. Marcellus says, no joke, if Mephisto finally appears or is at least teased in this movie, I will be happy.
Yeah, almost more than the X-Men. It's all become about Mephisto. It's all become about... Now, not a lot of people know. Here's the thing. And like, you go to some of these YouTube channels that are the conspiracy theory and like try to say, oh, you know, they put the little red circle around something. That little thing in the background is this. But not a lot of people know that they've actually had Mephisto in a couple of the projects already. The thing is, he's being played by John Cena. And as a result, well, right, you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Couldn't resist. Couldn't resist.
Oh my
okay, so
God,
next,
John.
I know that one was bad. That one was bad.
That was a long ride right there.
What did I miss? Really? Dur, dur, dur.
All right, what's next?
Prince Zodiac says, I'm thinking Wanda finds the only way to bring her kids to her, which are mutants, is to proclaim mutants are real or bring all mutants to me.
See, that could all be connected.
That I'm feeling that.
Now, first of all, remember, her kids aren't real. We found that out in WandaVision. These two little kidlets running around, these two little half witches, half toasters are running around. I still got to find out how.
Half toaster.
I mean, look at Vision, man. He's
Half toast.
I mean, at this point, like, his seed is manufactured by Westington, Westington Hot House, whatever it's called.
Westinghouse.
Westinghouse. That's
You should have
it.
picked a better appliance. Toaster?
Toaster.
Who even uses a toaster?
I used a toaster this morning. I had some delicious 7-grain bread toast.
Those
for
half
breakfast.
waffle makers.
Half waffle makers. So, yeah, I mean, her kids aren't real, but that is a very, very good point. Because we've been talking about she could bring about the creation of mutants. She wants to get her kids. What if those two things are intricately connected? It's like, make that a reality. It could be like she casts some kind of spell that has unforeseen consequences. Like, she does something to bring her kids in, but the result of that brings mutation into the world and X-Men. That has some other problems with it too, but it's an interesting theory, man. I like it. What's next?
Digovi says, multiversal Illuminati incoming. Wanda on a killing spree. Cannot wait for Multiverse of Madness.
Listen, this movie, almost more than any other MCU movie I can think of in the past, can absolutely go anywhere. This can go anywhere.
Honestly, you're making me think that the next trailer is going to be like presenting a lot of theories. I
Yeah.
think the next trailer is going to really have us going, oh shoot, okay, wait, and theorizing, because when you mentioned the timeline of what Kevin Feige said about X-Men, and it felt so far away, especially with 2020 just feeling like a blur. You're totally right. This could be it. I'm way more hyped today than I was yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. All right, what's next?
Paize says the subsequent Matrix movies could have been a prequel, Rise of the Matrix, or a story following the first anomaly, who freed the first humans.
Fuck prequels. I don't want prequels or anything like that. But I mean, you could have done both. Something that was both a little bit. No, you could have made a straight up sequel. The thing I was interested most in The Matrix is something they only mentioned once and then never touched on again. The Machine Civil War. That was interesting. As a matter of fact, do you guys watch that guy who does the pitch meeting videos
Yes,
on YouTube?
the screen thing.
I watched his thing yesterday on the Matrix 4 pitch meeting, and they brought up the Machine Civil War, and the studio execs, that sounds like really fascinating, doesn't it? We move on from it. And then I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, if you had done a movie about that, some of the machines started to side with humanity, and there was a Machine Civil War, and that's a movie I think had a lot of potential. Instead of, let's just completely redo the Matrix. You know what'd be great? Showing Neo getting pulled out of the pod. I mean, exactly like they did in the first movie. Yeah, let's do that again. I mean, let's have a scene where Neo starts to realize his power. Oh, like kind of exactly what they did in the first movie. Like, if they had done that thing about in that era, I think that could have been really a lot of potential. Could have had a lot of potential. All right, what's next?
Kevin Cow says, no need for more Matrix, more John Wick, please.
Absolutely, 100% agree. If Keanu's got to make a decision on his schedule between doing more Matrix, just stick with John Wick, bro. Stick with John Wick. All right, what's next?
Manny Garcia says, don't lose hope in Matrix 4 just yet. Still might win a Kid's Choice Award.
Okay, comment of the day goes to Manny Garcia. Yeah, absolutely. Paul, not many people knew Paul Feig is a producer on Matrix 4. A comment of the day right there. All right, what's next?
Maria Espino sends in a $50
Oh,
super
Maria,
chat.
thank you so much for supporting our channel on that level. That's incredibly generous of you, Maria. Thank you for that. All right, what is Maria's question?
She says, I can relate with Wanda. My first husband and I were middle school sweethearts, which is so rare. And we're together for 22 years. He was killed in a car accident at age 36. These movies have power to relate to people, which is why I love them.
First of all, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is true. But you bring up something that we do talk about a lot around here, which is the experiential power of these movies and those connections we have with other people and the experiences, not just while they're alive, but afterwards. You know, I talked the other day about, you know, we talk about John Schnepp, like a lot of us, even the fan community, we watch a movie and like, oh my God, Schnepp would have loved that, right? But it's even more, like we had somebody writing the other day that, you know, the first movie they saw with their dad, I think was the original Spider-Man, and their dad had passed away recently. And then they were going in to watch Spider-Man No Way Home. And that just kind of re-establishes that connection emotionally. You get to experience that again. And that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. Sometimes a little bit of pain is actually really, really good. And I think that's key. And the fact that you have that something like with Wanda as well, Maria, I think that's a great thing to bring up. So thank you so much for that. Thank you again for being here, being part of our show, and thank you for supporting us on that level. And that's a really, really great message you sent in. Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate that very much. All right, what's next?
Irakari MG says, excuse me, what is grief? The what is grief line hit me especially hard when I rewatched the show after I lost my sister earlier this year, but it's so true.
Again, another thing, an example about how the art of storytelling, like if you want to go back into human history, we as a species are built upon the idea that we're storytellers. Where you go, you find the most ancient of caves. What do you find? You find stories on the walls. Stories being told through pictures, but that's what we are, because stories connect us. Stories bind us, not just to the people that we know and love, but they connect us across the world. I told the story before. I was at Comic-Con one year and we were staying in this like Mexican drug lord house. It was incredible. Like it was this amazing, like you remember the place, Ray? Like this amazing, like 8-bedroom place with whatever, got it for a real reasonable price. And a whole bunch of us got to stay there, but it was like a short drive to the convention center. And I called a cab to pick me up and take me to the convention center. And it was this dude, not born in America. English was clearly not his first language. He struggled with English a bit. So him and I, nothing in common. We started talking about Lord of the Rings. And we had an 8-minute laugh-filled conversation between that house and that thing. I was just loving it. Two people, never met, almost nothing in common, but we bonded over a story. And that's the thing about these stories. Absolutely, they bond us through these shared experiences with the people we know and love, but they are actually a common bond across the globe. And they actually tie us all together. And when they are more near and dear, like what you're explaining here, Kari, then it's even more special. So thanks for sharing that and appreciate that very much. All right, what's next?
J.R. Wheeler says, Doctor Strange is the replacement for Tony Stark. Snarky and can be a real dick. He lacks Tony's humor, but I find him funny in a dry sort of way.
I tell you what, I love this Doctor Strange. I love the fact that he's a bit of a dick. I don't want all my characters like that, but I love my Doctor Strange character like that an awful lot. So well pointed out, JR. All right, what's next?
Annabelle G. Reyes says, I think we might see a Professor X cameo in Doctor Strange too.
I think we might see a Doctor Strange cameo in the last 7 or 8 things I've seen. Like, I thought there's been a possibility. Not that I said it would happen. I thought there's...
Professor X.
Yeah. I mean, I thought there was a possibility for that in Spider-Man No Way Home. I think there is a possibility. I'm not going to put any... Like, I don't... Like, if I had to guess, is that going to happen? No. But do I think there's a legitimate possibility? Absolutely. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Prince Zodiac says, to become Sorcerer Supreme, the existing has to die.
Or disappear.
No.
I mean, look, he disappeared and he's back. So really, let's be clear. The rules for who becomes Sorcerer Supreme have never been clearly laid out in the movies. That's never really been established. Now you can say, well, the comic books. Yeah, we know, but these aren't the comic books. So we don't know what their rules are. So we'll have to wait and see how they explain it a little bit further. All right, what's next?
Beyonder says, Wanda will be the villain for sure. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Sis is coming for everything taken from her.
I don't doubt it. I think like a lot of great movie villains, remember, every great movie villain didn't start off as a villain. I mean, some did. Thanos was just a guy trying to convince his own world government that his planet was heading for disaster. General Zod was just a guy who was genetically created from birth and raised to just be a protector for his people. Mm-hmm. Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 was just a guy trying to unleash new scientific discovery for the betterment of mankind. All these greatest villains come from, they start good, they want to do something good, and have a horrible, horrible, horrible thing happen that drives them to change their mind about a lot of things in life. That could absolutely be her. Again, the way they show, and I don't think any of the trailers for Doctor Strange from now to when it comes out are going to show Wanda as the Wanda as the villain. I don't think any of the trailers are going to give that away. I think they're going to reveal that in the movie. But yeah, I think something's going to happen. She's going to see, this is the way for me. Because what is more noble than wanting to save your children? What's more noble than that? Okay, your children weren't real, and by doing that, you could put a lot of people at risk and maybe even cause the damage of the fabric of reality itself. Don't give an F. And so that could be it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, it's next.
Digovi says, Wanda is going to hunt down America Chavez to use her to travel the multiverse to find a reality where her kids exist.
I think the Darkhold is going to come back into place too. Chavez, I mean, look, a lot of people have been speculating what's the role of Chavez going to be in this. We only get a brief glimpse of her in that trailer, but it will be neat to see if that's the way they use her there. All right, what's next?
James Argenta says, I think Wanda will be an antagonist, but I think Shuma Gorath will be main villain. Both villains will be after America Chavez for her abilities.
Again, like I said before, I just don't think you can build a complete character around that. So I think it's going to be a momentary threat. But who knows? Could absolutely be the main antagonist of the movie. We'll find out soon enough. Thanks for that, James. What's next?
Bobby Harrison's in a super chat. Thank you so much. Pretty Cyber says, there's a lot for Wanda. I think she will have her Dark Phoenix moment. I believe she summoned Shuma Gorath by accident and uses America to go. Yeah.
I mean, that could be.
She might have accidentally.
I mean, look, there's a scene in the trailer where Wong is being restrained. If you look closely, it looks like Wanda's magic restraining him. Don't know that for sure. I mean, it could be Mordo. Could absolutely be Mordo doing it. But I mean, so she may be summoning, it may not be an accident, it may be absolutely on purpose. I mean, I know, listen, there's nothing more terrifying in movies than a villain who thinks they are doing what is right. Nothing is more terrifying than a villain who thinks they're doing what is right. Yeah. And what is theoretically more noble than trying to get your kids? Right? I know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Trey says Wanda has a huge role because she's the only other person on the poster. In the trailer, she isn't seen with Strange after he asks for help.
I mean, I agree. She's absolutely going to have a huge role. There's no doubt about that. They announced her involvement in Doctor Strange 2 a long time ago. You don't do that if it's just a quick cameo appearance. You're absolutely right. She's going to be a major, major character. What's next?
Bobby Harris says, I could see where Wanda isn't the main villain, but her actions have major implications, creating mutants, opening up the multiverse, etc.
You could be right. I would say this, though. I actually think Doctor Strange 2 is going to be the big step towards closing the multiverse. Because if not, then everything MCU related is just going to become idiotic. It's just going to become this, every bit of shit is thrown at the wall and see what sticks. Like, oh, in this movie now, Lou Ferrigno is going to come through as the Hulk. Grrr, and this is going to happen. And this is, I mean, suddenly now that's going to become everything. And if you don't, then you got to explain why it's not. So I actually think this movie, I've thought this for a long time, Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness is going to be what either closes off the multiverse or redefines it and incredibly limits it. Like there might be one other alternative universe after. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating and guessing, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
Rylan Holman says, a very small part of me thinks this feud may be the new mislead for Universal like No Way Home was for Sony?
No, this has gone beyond that. I mean, there was, like I said, there was a time when I thought the Vin and Rock stuff was all a work, but it's gotten so personal, and again, when you bring in stuff like the Tyrese stuff that happened, I mean, this is all stuff that goes way, way above and beyond. So I used to think that too myself, but I don't think that's the case anymore. All right, what's next?
CM says, hi, John. Do you think we will see Tony, Natasha, Phil, and all the others that have died so far in the MCU?
Tony, yes. Natasha, yes. Phil, no. Phil, no, and all others, no. But if you're asking eventually we will see Tony again, and I think we'll probably see Natasha again at some point. No on the Phil Coulson thing. Kevin Feige's always definitively said that character's dead as far as my universe goes. But others, maybe. Look, it's the Marvel Cinematic Fake Death universe. I mean, so absolutely. All right, what's next?
Alan Gonzalez says, imagine the franchise Viagra attached to Marvel. Not that it needs it, but that would be insane.
It would all depend on what they had him do. Like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Doctor Strange, terrible fit. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as, I don't know.
The leader of the wrecking crew.
The leader of the wrecking crew. Nah. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as, I got Bishop coming, right? He's not a good fit for Bishop. Terrible fit for Bishop. If you could find the right role for Dwayne Johnson, then it could be gold. I mean, absolute squat over, crap out diamonds kind of treasure. But it would have to be the right role. It would have to be the right role. All right, what's next?
The Harsh Truth says, The Rock knows that the Fast franchise is dying. That's why he has no interest in going back.
But he's in the Fast franchise. He's still doing Hobbs and Shaw. And they're doing another Hobbs and Shaw movie. And is it dying? Point to me to evidence that it's dying.
Yeah.
I mean, even though 9 was terrible, in my opinion, it released in an era when there wasn't already a bunch of other movies releasing in theaters to get people back into the mood of going to the theaters, and it still made over $700-something million. So I don't see any evidence that it's dying, and Dwayne "The Rock" is staying in the Fast and the Furious universe. So I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, what's next?
Dakota Smith says, I loved Encanto, best animated movie this year.
I really enjoyed Encanto. I honestly still, though, think I would put Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is one of my biggest Pleasant Surprise movies of the year.
So good.
And I'd probably still put Ryan the Last Dragon above it. Ryan the Last Dragon didn't end up being as good as I hoped it would be, but it was still incredibly good. But I think all three of those are great. So, yeah. All right, what's next?
Hero75 says, Vin Diesel tried a persuasion check on The Rock and rolled a 1. Epic fail.
Yep, there's a little D&D reference on there. Let's try that. 1. All right, so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson puts out his own public statement and says he's disgusted that you brought up your kids and Paul Walker's death and rejects you completely. Like, that is a critical fail. He did roll a Hey, look. Again, these are two of my favorite guys in the business. I wish they were getting along. I wish they could find ways to make it work, but it seems we're at where we're at. All right, what's next?
Islud says, I just rewatched The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and thinking about Felicity Jones returning as Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. She's one of the lost potential in Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, look, Sony is ramping up their own Black Cat and Silver Sable. They have been doing that for years, but I know they haven't abandoned it. And I don't think it's going to be Felicity Jones. But hey, I'm all for it if they do. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn says, replace The Rock with Roman Reigns in Fast 10. Just kidding.
Of course, one of the reasons that, I know you're kidding, but one of the reasons they absolutely can't do that is because The Rock, or Roman Reigns, is already in the Fast and Furious universe as The Rock's cousin in the Hobbs and Shaw. All right, what's next? And he can't act. That's another big problem, too. He can't act. All right, what's next?
Nikki Sweet says, hey, John, longtime listener, first-time caller.
Thank you, Nikki.
Vin Diesel sounds like a desperate ex-girlfriend or boyfriend post-breakup. He gave you closure. Move on. Love the show and Happy New Year's.
I disagree. Can it look like that? Sure. You can look at that in such a way that it kind of comes across as that. To me, what it is a businessman saying, I need to try to do what's best for my business. And I think having Rock back in it, he's already told me no, but I need to do what's best for my business. I need to take another shot at it. I tried the private conversation way, and he still should have kept it private. He still should have kept it private. But he might have been thinking to himself, I tried the private conversation way. He declined. I need to try one more thing. I need to try to go public. It may backfire in my face, but I need to give it a shot. And he did. And listen, I respect him for giving it a shot. Again, I don't think it was the right way to go about it. But I think it really more to me comes across as a businessman trying to do what's best for the business. So, we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
Elizabeth Gerardo says, Vin using his kids was the thing that turned me off about him. Don't use children as a manipulative tactic.
Yeah, I mean, look, on the one hand, I get it. Like, you bring up the point. Like, listen, this was almost like Vin's way of saying, we're not all that far apart. Rock, we're not all that far apart. Like, you're still affectionately referred to in my house. My kids still call you Uncle Dwayne. There are still pleasantry messages sent back and forth on holiday season. I don't think Vin Diesel intentionally tried to use his kids as manipulation tools. But I think if Vin took a step back before hitting publish.
Yeah. That's always a problem.
And yeah, that is always a problem. And if he had taken a step back and read it over again, and he might have realized that's not how I intend it, but it's how it's kind of coming across. And maybe I shouldn't hit publish on this. So I think he was trying to use his kid as manipulation tools? No. Is that how it came across? Yeah. And I think he needed to take another deep breath before hitting send on that. All right, what's next?
Power says, who's to say that Dark Doctor Strange in the trailer isn't a Wanda creation? I really hope she's the villain. Trailer had me worried.
Listen, I've been saying this from the beginning. That Doctor Strange in the trailer, clearly, all of us, including me, we are making the assumption that this is the Doctor Strange from What If. And that is my assumption at this point. But we do have to keep in mind that just because they made it look like that it's still possible that that is not the Doctor Strange from What If. I mean, I'm assuming it is. I'm sure most of you are assuming it is. But in a world with Mr. Boner not being Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, we have to keep in mind that just because something looks like something on the surface, that may not be what it is. So I think it is the Doctor Strange from What If, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that there is a possibility it's not. So we'll have to wait and see. All right,
in a world of boners.
In a world of boners.
I'm sorry.
Had to be said in a world of boners. All right, what's next?
Orlando Orego says, Happy New Year's, John and company. Hoping for a better movie year in 2022. Stay safe, guys.
I mean, like I said, I still think the movie year was good, but man, it would be great to have a 2022 where the theaters are fully reopened. We have the full slates coming through. That's what we're hoping for. Fingers crossed. All right, what's next?
Power says, I feel if done right, Wanda could be the best villain MCU has had.
Agreed.
We have been with her all this time and still sympathize with her. Dark Phoenix, who?
No, listen, you're the latest person, Power to bring up the Dark Phoenix comparison. That is a great comparison. Mm-hmm. You know, we are literally talking about that level, right? And you go one step further than Thanos. Because I'm comparing Thanos, he just wanted to do something that he thought was right. She wants to do something she thinks is right. But it goes even further than that because we've already grown to know her as a hero. So there becomes a Macbethian tragedy in here as well if she actually turns bad. And, bubble, toil and trouble. I mean, there's a lot of really rich stuff in there you could do if that's what they do. But again, we don't know that she's going to be the villain in this movie. I'm just kind of taking a guess. All right, what's next?
Ryan Tribuco says the original Matrix opened domestically to about 28 million. After 8 days, the Matrix Resurrections has only earned 25.8 million. Ouch.
Again, it's when the first everybody forgets this now. When the first Matrix came out, nobody cared. Because at that time, Keanu Reeves' name was not exactly a big draw. It's like, that Keanu Reeves dude, he's in that. And you saw the trailer with the guns on the shelves going. It's like, that looks neat. It wasn't until after it came out and people started watching going, oh my God, you got to see this. That it kind of became, remember when the Matrix launched, it wasn't already the Matrix like it then became. So yeah, it's not a great thing where it's at right now. All right, what's next?
Thunder Knight says, I won't be surprised if the Fast and the Furious team break into the multiverse.
Oh my God.
LOL.
I won't put money against that. I won't put any money against Okay, what's the name of Charlize Theron's character again? I can't remember what her name is.
Cypher.
It is Cypher. Okay, it's the same one as the Matrix villain. All right, so it's Cypher. I would be surprised if all of a sudden Cypher shows up again. It's like, wait a minute. And then a big flash of life, and there's two more Cyphers. One with long, dark hair, one with spiky purple hair.
Oh my
It's like, we are teaming up to take down Dominic Toretto, a guy who just a few years ago was nothing more than a dude using a wrench to fix cars. But now he's the world's greatest super spy.
Everyone hop on your Dino Gotti.
Yes, on your Dino Gotti. And we all must team up to take him down. Listen, at this point, once
At
they
the same
put...
time, there's a comet coming down. They're about to destroy Earth. So the Fast and Furious team has to run their space shuttle into the comet, risking all their lives to save humanity.
But this sounds like the legit pitch, though. That's what makes me so scared.
Yeah, it could absolutely happen. All right, what's next?
Luis Enrique de la Peña says, I only watch FFX if one of these actors are in it. Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, or Henry Cavill replacing The Rock, or as a villain. Happy New Year.
I mean, listen, once you had Henry Cavill popping up as a villain in Mission Impossible was great.
That was so dope.
It was an awesome villain that. I could see Henry coming into Fast and Furious being the thing. The only problem is then you know they're going to job him to Vin Diesel's character at the end.
Oh, yeah.
They could have Henry Cavill in a multiverse come in as Superman. Superman! This is my one criticism of the Fast and Furious movies. Superman could literally show up in Fast and Furious. Dominic Toretto will beat him in a straight-up one-on-one fight.
He will have gum made of kryptonite and be like, you want one, man?
No, he wouldn't even need kryptonite.
Yeah.
He wouldn't need kryptonite.
He just needed a
family.
a sleeveless shirt.
Yes,
on.
sleeveless shirt.
I heard the first pitch for Godzilla versus Kong was Godzilla and Kong versus Dominic Toretto.
That's it. But then everybody thought that's too unrealistic because everybody knows Dominic Toretto would win that fight easy.
No.
Yes.
He's this invincible
He's the new Chuck
thing.
Norris. He is the new Chuck Norris.
All right, what's next?
Cam K says, let's be clear. Strange from the new trailer is not from What If.
Oh, let's be clear.
He doesn't wear the same stuff. He doesn't talk the same, nor act the same. Eyeshadow is their only commonality. The What If Strange was mournful, regretful, and not malicious, like this one is appearing to be. I'm not dogging on anybody, but I'm genuinely surprised by the amount of people who think this is What If Strange. I hope he's in the movie. But this is not him. I'm excited either way. However, I truly think this synopsis and trailer is a misdirect. I think Wanda is the big bad of this.
Okay, now, first of all, Ken, let me tell you what I disagree with you about here. I think you're making a lot of assumptions on one line we heard from that Doctor Strange. What was the exact line he says in the trailer?
I don't remember.
Things are about to get, or something like that, right? You're basing a lot of assumptions about how he acts, based on one line that he said. So I would be cautious about that, right? It's not like he was throughout the whole trailer. We heard him say 7 or 8 different lines of dialogue. We literally heard him say one line. However, as I've already kind of said a little bit earlier, the part that I agree with you on is I absolutely believe there is a possibility here that this is a bit of a misdirect, that this is not indeed that Doctor Strange from What If. It's my assumption right now that it is, but it is totally possible that it's not. This could be a bit of a misdirect, a la... I keep forgetting the name of the actor who played Quicksilver in X-Men. Then he showed
Aaron
up.
Taylor Johnson.
No.
The other guy.
That's the one
that
who
was in Mayor of Easttown. Oh,
yeah,
God.
the one who was in Mayor of Easttown.
I forgot.
Got nominated for. I can't.
I totally
his name.
forgot.
But that he shows Evan Peters. Evan Peters is his name.
Thank you.
This could exactly be an Evan Peters showing up at the end of that one episode of WandaVision, where everybody in the world said, that's it. That's Quicksilver from Fox's X-Men. It's all crossed over now. And it wasn't. So it could be that. I'm still assuming that it is, but you're right, Cam K. It's very well possible that it may not be. All right, what's next?
Fundamentalist sends in a super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Raymond Reddington says, do we still get Hobbs and Shaw too?
Yes. They're still moving forward with it. They're still working on it. As long as Vin Diesel's not involved, then The Rock wants to do it. All right, what's next?
Chips B. Wick says, if Rock returns, it'll be because fans demand it. And Vin sincerely apologizes and changes. Then Fast and Furious meet Transformers and get $3 billion box office. Legit.
First of all, Vin Diesel and Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Fast and Furious in a crossover movie with the Transformers. Yes. I mean, maybe not $3 billion, but a movie that actually threatens Endgame and Avatar as the two biggest box office movies of all time. Listen, you and I don't know what actually went on behind the scenes. I wasn't on set or in those trailers when Vin and Dwayne were arguing and fighting and all that kind of stuff. For all we know, Vin's not the one who owes an apology.
True.
Remember,
Maybe he is, but
remember it was first mentioned that Rock was the first one to actually really put it out in public that he didn't like people being late.
Yeah, Dwayne
being late. He's the one who brought this.
Yeah, it was like, got a lot of good things to say about my female cast members. They work their asses off, not like some of the candy asses that I work on this movie
Yeah,
with.
something like that.
So really,
Shots
Rock
fired.
was the first. Listen, I love Dwayne. I love Dwayne. But he was the first one to make this public. And that was not a good move.
Yeah, that wasn't a
Like, for all we
messy.
know, none of this would have been made public if it wasn't for the fact that Dwayne Johnson came out first and made that comment.
And he never mentioned his name, right?
No. He never said anybody by
But
name.
we all know, everyone.
But there's only so many
Yeah.
other male co-stars in the
Yeah,
movie with
leads.
you, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for all we know, Dwayne's the one who owes the apology. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying for all we know. So I don't know. It's tough. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but I would love to see it happen.
Here.
Yep. All right. What's next?
Elizabeth Gerardo says, I'm predicting 355 will be Simon Kinberg's second flop. The film looks so bad. Not even my bae Sebastian Stan can make me see it.
I'll tell you what. When I first heard about 355, which I think might have been like 2018, 2019, and I heard the cast, Kruger, Lupita Nyong'o. I mean, the cast is fantastic. I got very excited. And Simon Kinberg, who is a great filmmaker, it was a tragic, I said from day one that they announced, and I've met Simon a couple times. I actually hung out with him in line
At Toys R Us.
at Toys R Us. That's right.
Star Wars.
Were you there
May
for
the
that
4th.
too?
Yeah.
You were there too.
It
That's
was,
right. You, me, Ray. So you, me, Ann. Was Ryan there with us too?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, so-
and Soul was there, I think.
Soul might have been there too.
But yeah, Simon Kinberg was there with Seth Green,
Well, and my buddy Kyle
Kyle.
was there, and so Kyle's the one who brought us over and said, "Hey, why don't you meet Simon Kinberg? Super nice guy. I think he's a tremendous filmmaker, great producer, great writer." But I said from day one when they announced that he was directing an X-Men, I said, "This is a mistake. You've never directed a film before. I don't care how many things you've written and you've been on set and you've been a producer. You've never directed a film before. You don't make the first film you direct a major $100 million+ movie tentpole film like an X-Men film. That is not where you cut your teeth." And I didn't think X-Men Dark Phoenix was the absolute dumpster fire that some people make it out to be. I think it had some pretty decently redemptive moments in it, to be honest with you, but it wasn't good. So I thought, you know what? 355 is the kind of movie he should have started with. But I thought, and now Kinberg has learned a lot of lessons doing that X-Men movie. He's going to do this 355, a spy, lower profile action film with a great cast in it. I tell you, I do not like the trailers. They don't give me a lot of hope. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it's going to be great. But a lot of people have forgotten about this movie. It was supposed to come out well over a year ago. And so I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to go into it with great hope, but low expectations. Great hope, but low expectations. All right, what's next?
All right. Lastly, we have super chats from Peter Benitez and Ryan Nichols. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for sending those in. We appreciate that very much. And listen, guys, that's actually all the time we have for today. We didn't have time today to get into the questions that you guys sent in via the tip link. Don't worry. We have not forgotten those. We will get caught up on those. No problem. Don't worry about it. But for now, that will do it for today's episode of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and making this show part of your day. I want to thank, of course, Kimberly Ann Curran for being here. Kimberly, where can people find you online?
Yeah, guys, you can find me on Instagram at wasgoodkimberly.
And, of course, over here, Ray Ora, the victorious one.
In the losers bracket today.
Ray, where can people follow you?
Ray Ora with a 0.
And all your winning ways.
Yeah.
And guys, don't forget, you can follow me simply at John Campea on Instagram or Twitter. Guys, that'll do it for us until New Year's Eve. Thanks you so much for being here, guys. Appreciate all of you. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.